Yeah, it wound up being an absolutely perfect day for golf yesterday at the Ozzie Smith PGA Reach Tournament out at St. Albans. And when we started, I thought it was going to be really cold, but it wound up being a perfect day for golf. Thank you, too, for filling in so perfectly on the show. I understand everything went swimmingly.
We had a great day.
We did. We had CD get,
came in and surprised us, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And the fact that he got up so early, yesterday morning too, he was there like right at 7.
Yeah,
it was great. Yeah.
And you are like, you've got a new style now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some gear from Sam, and it was very nice, very thoughtful, and him working that with John, and so it's I'm excited about it. It was a great time. Great to see him here. Like I said, it was such a surprise. We were doing the show, and Rocc stepped outside for about 3 minutes. So in radio time, you're like,
this was like 30.
I'm trying to go to the next segment, and I'm like, Matthew Rocchio isn't here. We have audio that needs to be played, and I'm just kind of looking over my shoulder like, when is this guy gonna get back in here? And then Brooke brought it in, so I was like,
I'm gonna post the video later. But there's about 3 times where Kerry looks over his shoulder, and when he looks back to the camera, the look in his eyes is pure like, I'm gonna strangle this kid when he gets back in here. And then all of a sudden Sam walks in, he's like, I had no clue what he was doing.
Awesome, that's great.
We were nervous because we were trying to plan it out perfectly, because before CD got in yesterday, we were talking about it, and it was like, okay, well, we got to still hit Blues and obviously everything with baseball playoffs. And so I was like, in my head, I'm like timing it out. I'm like, okay. And then I could see CD getting antsy. I was like, okay, we got to get this going. We got to wrap up our thoughts on this and then toss right to it.
It was perfect. Great. It was pretty awesome.
You can text us all day long on the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. And, of course, you can watch us on our Air Alliance Team Studio Cam. Just go to YouTube and type in 101 ESPN STL. One thing we have learned early in the season, and, Kerry, when you played, I think a lot more teams had good offensive lines. There's a lot of bad offensive lines in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look at the teams. For example, the Chargers have a really bad offensive line. And that is one of the reasons that Justin Herbert isn't performing to the level that you'd expect him to perform to. But he's not the only one. Dallas has pretty good offensive linemen, but they're in and out. Dallas does come away with a 2017 victory last night, and it's hard sometimes to put a game on somebody or a group of people. I'm going to put that game on the Chargers offensive line. They just didn't give their running back an opportunity to run or their quarterback an opportunity to throw.
Offensive line play has declined, I would say, in the last 5 to 10 years, and it starts in college because most of the colleges no longer run pro-style offense. They run RPOs, they run pass options. So offensive linemen don't have to learn how to pass block necessarily. They don't have to learn how to actually run game block and do all of the things, the nuanced things that you do once you get to the NFL. So they're not taught that. So now they're behind the 8 ball when they get to the NFL. And, you got to win games in the NFL as well. So you got to figure out ways to kind of patchwork your offensive line and make sure that they can do the things possible to get your quarterback to make those timely throws or to create holes for the running backs.
Yeah, I feel like you really are seeing that right now. Or is this also becoming the season of defenses? Because it feels like defenses are really shining more this year in the NFL than you were expecting some of the quarterbacks to. And it does go back to the O-line. But you saw at the end there, the final 2 minutes, I mean, the Cowboys' defense came up huge.
Defense is always, especially earlier in the season, I know we're week 6 going into week 7 now, but earlier in the season, defense is always ahead of the game than the offense. It takes offense time. Defense, just find ball, get ball. That's what it's, the defensive playbook is one page. It's like
in crayon.
In crayon, find ball, get ball, and that's it. It doesn't matter how you align. You just find ball, get ball, and then they say, ready, break. And they go. That's all they do. Offense, we got a little bit more nuances that we have to
more complicated playbook.
A little bit more. We got a little more things, a few more things to do.
So the Cowboys win it over the Chargers last night by a score of 20-17. Meanwhile, baseball yesterday, Game 2 of the American League Championship Series, Astros and Rangers. And the Rangers score on an error in the first inning, then an RBI hit by the former Cardinal, Adolis Garcia, and then old Ned Garver steps up.
Garver now yanks the line drive into left field. That'll drop in for another Texas hit, and it's 3-0. The 4th hit out of the first 10 pitches of this game.
It was 4-0 by the end of the first inning, 5-1 as we went to the third. And this game was wild because it's stuff we don't see anymore. It's actually a manager that trusts his starting pitcher. Bottom of the fifth, Astros hitting against Nathan Eovaldi. Michael Brantley with a base hit, Chas McCormick with a base hit, and Jeremy Pena safe. That, folks, means the bases are loaded with nobody out. What's Bruce Bochy do? He doesn't go out and say, oh, this guy's got a 74% chance of getting a ground ball. Bruce Bochy looks at his pitcher and says, okay, this is the eye test. A soft base hit, another soft base hit, and an error. And then what's Eovaldi do? He strikes out Diaz, he strikes out Altuve, Bregman grounds out of the inning. Then you go into the sixth inning. Eovaldi still pitching. Kyle Tucker strikes out, Alvarez with a walk, Abreu strikes out, then Brantley with a double to score Alvarez. What does Bruce Bochy do? He didn't think, oh, I need to get the ground ball. I need to get the guy with the 74% chance to get a ground ball. No, he realizes with the eye test that at that moment in the game, Nathan Eovaldi is still his best pitcher, and McCormick strikes out swinging. And it wasn't until after the sixth inning that Bochy removed Nathan Eovaldi. I love a manager that has faith in and can see in his starting pitcher that he's still the best guy that he has.
Yeah, I mean, Montgomery and Eovaldi really have been the backbone of these two victories for the Rangers, and it all goes back to starting pitching. You had that moment on Monday with Jordan Montgomery. CD and I were talking about this yesterday, where you had bottom of the fourth and you had a bases loaded situation that Montgomery was able to work his way out of, and then you had this whole Houdini act by Eovaldi last night, and I just think that it shows you how Bruce Bochy really does have the trust of the players, and that was a game that got close there in the end, and the Rangers bent, but they didn't break, and I think that had a lot to do with keeping Eovaldi in the game, really showing the trust that you have in your players. How he got out of that whole situation in the bottom of the fifth, I have no idea. I thought he had no chance, but Bruce Bochy knew, and I don't think many other managers, and I know we'll talk a lot about here in St. Louis, but I don't think many other managers in Major League Baseball would have had the stomach to keep Eovaldi in that situation.
No, and I think four of them are in the Final Four right now.
That may be the reason that they are.
Yeah.
You have to trust your guys, and I like the idea of giving him an opportunity to finish it out and get out of that inning despite having runners on base. As you said, soft hit, and not really any hard contact. So that gives you an idea. It's not as bad as it may seem, and so we're going to just play it how we need to play it and get out of this inning. On the flip side, the Houston Astros, Yordan Alvarez is a guy.
Oh, yeah.
I told you yesterday, I thought he was going to do what he ended up doing. Jose Altuve needs to come to the party. We're still waiting. Yep. He is over in this LCS right now, in this NLCS. So until he starts setting the table for this Houston Astros team, they're probably going to struggle. If he gets on and gets hits, they probably have an opportunity to win.
And unlike the Rangers, who only had to use 3 relief pitchers, Spores came on, then Chapman and Leclerc, and that is in large part because Eovaldi didn't get taken out in the fifth inning, but Framber Valdez only lasted 2 2/3, and they wound up having to use 5 different relievers. Now, they have a day off, so it's not as big a deal, but Bruce Bochy has a much less taxed bullpen with Max Scherzer starting Game 3 tomorrow.
Ooh, Max Scherzer, Mad Max coming to the mound. That is going to be exciting to see. That'll be his first time pitching since September 12th.
Yeah.
I don't know which version you're going to get from him, but I think you're going to get the very angry and also dialed-in version.
Absolutely you are.
Do you think that he just imagines the Cardinals whenever he gets, angry in certain situations?
I think he's just so competitive.
He'll do anything.
Yeah.
He'll think of anything.
Yeah, he'll think of some chip to put on his shoulder. Maybe the Mets at this point.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. That's
Meanwhile, in the night game, Philadelphia held off Arizona 5-3. A good start for Philadelphia again. Kyle Schwarber is a pretty good leadoff hitter if you like home runs.
Kyle Schwarber ready to lead off. First ball swinging, and there it goes. An ambush by Schwarber, and it's 1-0 Phillies.
And then, of course, it's the playoffs, so Bryce Harper has to come up in the first inning, too.
For Schwarber in the regular season. Now Harper deep into right center, and he'll watch this one fly. Second home run of the inning.
Nicholas Castellanos hit a home run in the third. The Phillies built a 5-0 lead. And in the ninth inning, Arizona actually had the tying run at the plate, but couldn't overcome that deficit, and 5-3 was the final. And Philadelphia takes a 1-0 lead in that series with Game 2 today.
It's hard not to like Philly. It's hard. I mean, Kyle Schwarber, first pitch, swinging. And he is literally hit or miss. Like, that's his thing. He's going to hit it out or he's going to strike out. But when he hits them, man, they go a long way. And Bryce Harper, on his birthday, blowing out the candles, 31. He's a special talent, man. And to have guys like that on your roster that can come up and make plays, it's extremely fun to watch. And, again, I think that this Phillies team, they learned some things about themselves from last year, what they didn't do correctly. You know, not finishing the deal, making it to the World Series, but not finishing it. I think that this team is a team of destiny and will make it to the World Series again, and this year they will win it.
Since we got to the $100 million contract in baseball, Bryce Harper might be the best free agent signing. Right now, probably Scherzer with the Nationals, because the Nationals did win a World Series with him. But in terms of production, in terms of getting what you want, in terms of durability, now he did miss time with the Tommy John surgery this year, but for the most part, he's gone to the post. There aren't many free agents that have signed that have been better for their teams and their cities than Bryce Harper.
No, I mean, just like you were talking about, CD, just the energy that he brings, and that's Thompson letting him be the player that he needs to be. Bryce Harper needs to have that chip on his shoulder. That whole attaboy situation that we saw play out, I think that he really plays into that. And this is a team of destiny right now. They are getting hot at exactly the right time. 32 homers in like the last 13 games for them. That is literally the definition of getting hot at the right time. Bryce Harper, his energy, I think that has a lot to do with it, because when you see a guy going out there like that with the passion that he brings, that just elevates all the other players around him too. And the Phillies are a really fun team to watch. It's hard to like want to root against them or root for them, but at the same time, it's just like it's the team that you want to watch right now.
Bryce Harper in 43 career postseason games, 15 homers, 30 RBIs, and a 1.044 OPS.
Must be
In the
nice.
against
That's insane.
good pitching all the time.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
Good guy to have. And we will have game number 2 of that series tonight here on 101 ESPN. Pregame at 6:30, the action just after 7. Phillies and Diamondbacks game number 2. By the way, last night, Zach Wheeler goes 6 innings for Philadelphia, so they're getting innings out of their starters, and they'll have Aaron Nola on the mound tonight.
That's a good problem to have, too.
It is.
It's amazing when you have good pitching and good hitting, how good you can be.
Oh, man, it makes a
thought
difference.
that.
Well, and here's the thing. All of these teams have pitchers that are starting pitchers that are conditioned to go more than 5 and dive. It's 6 and a third, 6 and 2/3, 7 innings. And when you have pitchers that expect to go that distance, think of all the outside saves on your bullpen. And it's a good thing to have it. This all started because of what Cleveland did in the 2016 playoffs by using up their bullpen. And people thought, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Well, it was the playoffs.
Right.
You can't do it for 162 games. And that's one of the problems that franchises like the Cardinals have run into, thinking that, oh, well, we can just get 5 out of our starters and our bullpen's going to be fine. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not logical to have it work that way.
Well, and also it just goes back to the psychological aspect of it, of just like thinking, okay, I know that they won't pull me in these situations like you saw with Evaldi and also with Montgomery, because they know that they're allowed to continue to go through these games and they don't have to worry about that aspect of it because they've proven that. Bruce Bochy has proven that. And the Rangers, their biggest question mark going into this postseason was their bullpen. But hey, guess what? You don't really have to worry about it that much when you have Montgomery and Evaldi doing what they're doing.
Pretty good stuff. And let's see what Scherzer can do tomorrow. Hey, this is a guy that throws 7 innings in his spring training debuts. He'll probably shut him down. He's amazing. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, the quarterback carousel in the NFL never stops. We're going to talk about some of the guys that are getting off of the merry-go-round next on 101 ESPN.
We know the talent level of Josh Allen. It just seems like at the worst, most inopportune times, that thing rears its head where you start to see the critical mistakes, or you start to get into this lull of trying to do too much and make too many plays, and then it turns out to something like this. So you go back and forth. It's almost like riding a roller coaster. I think the one thing about Josh Allen that everybody can respect is that sometimes when he plays boring football, it looks phenomenal, and that's all you need out of him.
That's Marcus Spears of ESPN on NFL Live talking about Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, whose career quarterback record is 56-26. He's 30 games over 500. His records in the NFL since he became the full-time starter: 10-6, 13-3, 11-6, 13-3, and 4-2 this year. And obviously, those are quarterback records. He's playing on a good team. But I think we have a tendency. And by the way, this is nothing new. We have a tendency as a football fandom to expect perfection, and nothing is going to be perfect in football. Gary, you coach it every week. You know that nothing's ever going to be perfect. You know what? If you would have just plugged in the name Brett Favre rather than Josh Allen there, it would play the cut again. And don't think of him saying Brett Favre rather than Josh Allen, okay? Think about this.
We know the talent level of Josh Allen. It just seems like at the worst, most inopportune times, that thing rears its head where you start to see the critical mistakes, or you start to get into this lull of trying to do too much and make too many plays, and then it turns out to something like this. So you go back and forth. It's almost like riding a roller coaster. I think the one thing about Josh Allen that everybody can respect is that sometimes when he plays boring football, it looks phenomenal, and that's all you need out of him.
Isn't that Brett Favre?
It is. one of the biggest issues that Josh Allen has is Josh Allen. Yeah, like you said, just doing too much, wanting to make the big play, and turning the ball over at inopportune times. He's a hell of a quarterback when he just plays boring football. Yeah. Get the ball to your guys, get the ball out of your hand the ball off to your running backs, huddle up and do it again.
We don't love boring.
No one does. And what's exciting is a guy that can make the throw that he made for the touchdown to win the game for them, because that's a throw you probably shouldn't make. It's squeezing in between two defenders, but he can make the throw. So in his mind, I'm going to make this throw, and sometimes it's going to be really good. Sometimes it's going to be really bad. Let's hope for more good times than bad times.
It'll be exciting.
Yeah. The thing is like we talk about, we know how talented that he is. How much do you think of it is, though, that it feels like he has to be Superman week in and week out? And does he have to overcome some of the lack of offensive talent and weapons? If you look around at other teams in the AFC, other than the Chiefs, because we've talked about that right now. They don't really have, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but it feels like he doesn't have that many offensive weapons. You feel like maybe the Bills are lacking some of that offensive talent to help him in this situation? Look at the Bengals. They have 3 essentially all-star receivers.
Yeah, I don't think so. You got Stephon Diggs, you got Gabe Davis. You only got one football, so the Bengals have issues getting the ball to Tyler Boyd because he's the third guy. You get 2 really good receivers, 1A, 1B. You're going to throw the ball to Stephon Diggs as much as possible. I just think his issue is he needs to make great plays in his mind, and the Superman aspect in his brain is sometimes it takes over, and I got to make a big play, and, just check it down sometimes. Well, it's okay.
One of the things that he runs into, too, that Burrow doesn't run into as much, is Burrow has Joe Mixon, and you have a lot more 2nd and 5s than 2nd and 8s where you have to make that big play.
They are doing a better job of handing the ball off to James Cook, allowing him to run the football a lot more than they have in the past.
All right, let's touch on other quarterbacks. Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, saying that Anthony Richardson more likely than not will be out for the entire season, and Gardner Minshew will take over as the Indianapolis Colts starter. Had to like what you saw of Anthony Richardson when he was on the field. However, this is 2 injuries, and one of the concerns about his style of play was him getting injured. He'll be able to spend a year getting coached up and avoiding, hopefully, getting hurt like he has early on, because he got hit hard.
Yeah. The first injury was his own fault. I will say that he got a concussion. He leaned back into the defender. He hit his head on the turf. He scored a touchdown. He could have just ran into the end zone. This one, I remember when it happened, he reached for the shoulder immediately. It was one of those things where, again, he probably could have avoided one of those big hits and protected himself a little bit better. It's one of the things you learn as you get older in the game, and he's a young quarterback. When you're in college, even though you played in the SEC, every every single kid on that roster does not make it to the NFL. When you're in the NFL, every single man on that roster is in the NFL. So the talent level obviously jumps up, and you have to learn how to adjust and adapt to what you're facing in comparison to what you were facing last year.
I remember Taylor Wan, when he was with the Titans, he spoke about that, where it's like in college football, about every other game or every once in a while, you're playing a really good team. And with the NFL, it's like facing Alabama every single week. What do you feel like your confidence level is in Gardner Minshew taking over that role full time?
I like Gardner. I don't think he took care of the ball well enough in that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. But I do like Gardner. I said it before. I think he's the best backup quarterback in the NFL because he has experience. He has done it. He has won games. He has been a starter in his past. So I don't have an issue with Gardner Minshew. I don't know how much you can expect from this Indianapolis Colts team, though. I think they have some of the pieces. But do they have enough?
And they don't have enough explosion.
There you go. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he's just getting back into the fold. He only had 8 carries in that game. You got Michael Pittman Jr., who I think is a really good receiver, but I don't know if he's a 1A type of receiver. But for this team, he is. And, if Gardner Minshew throws the ball 55 times, you're probably not going to win. He had 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions, 55 passes. That's not going to get the job done.
Brock Purdy faced a defense that's allowing only 200 yards a game in Cleveland. He didn't have McCaffrey. He didn't have Deebo Samuel. And he went 12 of 27 for about 150 yards. But at the end of the game, without McCaffrey, without Deebo, he led a 9-play, 56-yard drive that led to a missed field goal at the end of the game, a missed 41-yard field goal that would have won it. So for all of the negatives about Brock Purdy in this game, the overall stats, you take an opportunity. It was 9:52 in a minute 34. He got them in position to win the game.
So the question going into last week was, is Brock Purdy elite? That has been the question. Is he elite, or is his team, the players around him, elite? And I think some of that got answered on Sunday. He has some superstar players in Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, those guys, George Kittle. You got guys. When he had some of those guys coming in as backups, it didn't look as great, which it's not going to. But he was missing some passes, which for me is a problem. You have to be able to hit guys on time and make sure you're getting guys involved. That last drive is what got him over 100 yards in that game. He ended up with 125, but he was at 81 until that last drive, and then Brandon Ayuk had that big pass, catch and run. I don't know what to expect from Brock Purdy if Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey are out for an extended period of time. If they're healthy, again, this is the best team in the NFL, hands down, but we all know injuries occur, so we'll see how he can progress and how those guys that are filling in, how well they can progress if Deebo and Christian are unable to play this weekend.
Yeah, and looking at some of the updates, it looks like that Christian McCaffrey should just be day-to-day, but we should get some more updates here soon. But we discussed this yesterday with Brock Purdy. That has been one of the biggest questions going into the season, is that if he could be a elite franchise quarterback for this team. And he did lead them to an undefeated record to start things off going this game. Do you think it's more of where you're looking at the 49ers and his performance, or is this just a really good Browns defense? Because they were also able to bang up some really important guys.
It's a really good Browns defense, and it's a crying shame that the Browns are on their third quarterback trying to figure things out, because this defense is, top 2, top 3 in the NFL. They found a way to win with a third-string quarterback in P.J. Walker. The 49ers can't lose that game despite everything. You missed a field goal at the end of the game. Despite all of that, despite the injuries, you shouldn't lose that game to a third-string quarterback, but it happens. But the Browns' defense is elite, so you have to give them some credit as well.
I would rather, if I were a 49er fan, I'd rather lose now than in game 1 of the playoffs.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And the injuries that they have, the 49ers actually have a bye this week, so you got time to get healed up and get back healthy, and they play against the Vikings when they come back.
A couple of others. This is what the sheet says. Desmond Ridder should enjoy his season as an NFL starter. So we're benching him right now. We're at the end of this year, he's done. Done his dinner.
No.
He can't.
Maybe.
No.
And the 49ers don't have a bye. They play Sunday against the Vikings.
Okay.
But Desmond Ridder,
he can't be.
It's probably his last year as a NFL starter. He may find some spots to start here and there, but the Atlanta Falcons have way more issues than just Desmond Ridder.
They do.
You draft 3 skill positions back to back to back in 3 consecutive years in Pitts, Kyle Pitts, and then you draft Drake London, and then you draft Bijan Robinson. That's nice. That's great. That's like buying a Maserati without an engine. Like, you can sit. It looks beautiful. How are you without any tires? What are you gonna do? You just sit it there. You don't have anything to allow it to run, man. So you got to figure out. You normally want to draft inside out, meaning offensive line.
Thank you.
Receivers, running back, quarterback, defensive line, linebackers, DBs. But the Atlanta Falcons decided to go the opposite way. So they got a Maserati, but they don't have an engine, and so they're going to be sitting there for a little while until they can figure that out.
If I were ever to be an NFL owner and I wanted to win, and that's a big caveat here, I would say to prospective head coaches when I was interviewing head coaches, hey, your budget for your offensive line coach is unlimited. We're going to get the best guy. Because that's one thing you can do on the offensive line. Yes, you have to draft guys, but you can develop offensive linemen too. And that is definitely not happening in Atlanta.
No. Where does it seem to be really anywhere? What is that you think that is? I know that you talked about it happening in college football. Is it just not teaching the technique? Or the techniques? Yeah.
The Rams drafted an offensive lineman, Jason Smith, from Baylor, who had never in his career put his hand in the dirt. 3-point stance his entire career.
Wow.
Yeah, or a 2-point stance in his entire career. And then they went the opposite direction when they took Greg Robinson out of Auburn, who had never pass blocked before.
Never pass set. He was a front. He went forward 90% of the plays. And that it's the thing is, you want talent, right? You want to draft guys that are talented, that can adapt, but you also would like to know that you can coach them up. You have to be able to develop them into what you need them to be. And sometimes either you don't have the right coaches or that guy is unable to attain a certain level of success because he's not. Maybe there's a reason why he was only doing one thing in college, because that's all he could do.
Finally, this morning on Unsportsmanlike, Chris Canty was railing about the Bears quarterback, Justin Fields, saying that he'll never be good because he's hurt too much. And he said they'll never have him. This is a quarterback who was drafted in the first round. In his first year, played 12 games, started 11. Second year, played and started 13, so he was injured for 3. Third year, played in 10. He was injured for 6. Fourth year, did not play. And then his 5th year, played in 2 games, no starts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and never played a full season. 6th year, 16-16. 7th year, 16-16. 8th year, 16-16, Super Bowl champs. 9th year, 9-9 in a strike season. 10th year, 15-15. 11th year, 15-15. This was shortened seasons. 10th year, 14-14, Super Bowl champs. And that was Phil Simms, who during the course of his first 5 years hardly played. I don't think you can judge a quarterback's quality based upon his availability because of a bad offensive line in the first 2 or 3 years of his career. He's started for 2. Now, Justin Fields might not be good, but I don't think we should judge him based on his injuries so far.
Yeah, when I was listening to Chris Canty this morning, that was the first thing that came to mind. He was talking about, I think he had ribs his first year,
not his fault.
Shoulder his next year, thumb this year. I mean, if you got ribs and shoulders, it's probably because you're getting hit in the pocket. And maybe it's because of some of the running things you do in the run game. But, again, you want to protect that guy. And let's see if we protect him first, if he can actually play, and get him an offense that he understands and figure out how to go through a progression. The thing that frustrates me most is the lack of development that I see in college football and in the NFL. It's almost like guys have to be ready-made without teaching them how to play the game. No, you got to teach them how to play the game. Everybody does not come ready-made, so the ones that are going to be good regardless. I don't think Lawrence Taylor needed much assistance. God gave him something that Bill Parcells could never help him with. So you are able to have an ability, but when you have guys that have the ability but still need that coaching, you got to get them coached up and get them better.
And I don't think that that's a negative. I'm almost think that it's seen as like a negative, that they would need some extra coaching when they make it to the league. But it is a big jump, as we talked about, for all players, but especially in the quarterback position, because it is a quarterback league. I think that it is too soon to judge Justin Fields. Do you think that it needs to, though, be possibly a change of scenery or maybe a change of coaching with that?
Change of coaching would not hurt.
Change of coaching could help. But, I mean, if you're the head coach that's getting hired to that position, you probably want to have your own quarterback as opposed to a guy. Instead of, if it doesn't work, now you got to start over your second year as a head coach as opposed to starting over your first year.
But you look at Aaron Rodgers, he sat for 3 years. Brooke, the guy that you grew up idolizing, Steve McNair, drafted in the first round, high in the first round by the Oilers. He played in 4 games, started 2 in his rookie year. His second year, 96, he played in 9, but only started 4, and then finally got rolling in his third year. You need, like Carrie says, to give people an opportunity to learn what they're doing, but not be getting hit all the time while they're learning.
Yeah, a little bit harder to do that, especially if you can't stay on the field. It's harder to learn out there.
Yeah. Coming up, have the Blues lowered expectations changed your excitement for the start of this season? That's next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, Monday Night Football, the Cowboys and the Chargers. Oh, what a game as the Cowboys win that one 20-17. Also, LCS, both of them in action yesterday. Early game was Rangers and Astros. Rangers win that one 5-4 to take a 2-0 lead in the ALCS. While in the NLCS, game 1, the Phillies over the D-backs 5-3. Game 2 is tonight. That's a 7:07 first pitch. You can catch that game right here on 101 ESPN. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
I'd love to get third place. I think that or I'll say the way I look at it, I see Dallas and I see Colorado as a different maturation part in their organizations. They seem to be a half a letter to a full letter grade ahead. But then I look at Minnesota. I look at what Winnipeg's going through, what Nashville's going through, what we're going through. So I don't see us being in that group of players starting out, hoping to get the first overall pick. That's not what we're looking at. Now, how far they can take it, I think we should be competitive with the groups with that. If you break the league into thirds, I hope to be in competitive with that middle third, and I hope to be at the top end of that middle third.
That's Doug Armstrong before the season started. He, of course, the POHO of your St. Louis Blues, and he is, if nothing else, completely honest and transparent. And he said, I hope to finish in third. But he also made a very good point there. Colorado and Dallas are at different maturation points in their existences. And one of my favorite things about sports is watching a young team grow. And that's what we get the opportunity to do. So even though nobody's picking the Blues to win the Stanley Cup, I love the idea of watching young players get an opportunity and grow into, hopefully at some point, a Stanley Cup champion.
Well, the biggest difference, and I think that there's a huge difference between the Dallas Stars and even the Colorado Avalanche, is that really the core group of players, and you're talking about, we're watching right now the Blues kind of essentially build up that young core and really let them develop, and Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. But with the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche, they have their core established now, especially if you look at the Dallas Stars. In that game the other day, the first one of the season, they were playing without Rocc Hintz. And Hintz is a very talented player, but they did still have, Jason Robertson, we saw what he was able to do last season, and Joe Pavelski. And if you look at Colorado Avalanche, we know who they have. And oh, by the way, they added Ryan Johansson too. So, they have a really good, both teams have a really good established core. I think the Blues can get there. And that's why I think it's fair that they kind of are tempering expectations going into the season. I think this group is very talented, but I think it's going to take a little bit for that core to develop where it is competing against what the Dallas Stars and the Avalanche have right now.
Under promise and over deliver. I'm hoping that that's what this team is. I think that, you get a couple of overtime games, you lose one, you win one, but you're competing. And that's the one thing. Jordan Binnington has been playing, lights out, in my opinion. 63 saves on 65 shots. He's been doing a great job. This new style of defense is different, but they're allowing more shots, or as many shots as they have in the past few years, but not the dangerous shots that are close to the net, or not allowing the rebound. So I'm excited about that. We talked to Kerber yesterday about the about the power play and how much better they need to do, because they're not doing very well right now. So there are things as a team with some younger players and some guys, really adapting. How much better can they get in certain areas? There's still room for improvement, but so far you have to be pretty excited with what you've seen from this team.
And I'm intrigued by the talent on the power play. You love what Jordan Kyrou is capable of. What they need to do is get shots. They've been outshot on their own power play. Yes. They have 2 shots and they've allowed 3. Yeah. So that's something that you don't, and that's courtesy of Jeremy Rutherford. JR has that statistic. But the creativity is there when you have Thomas and Kyrou. You just need to focus. And it's the old Ron Caron, shoot the puck! Sometimes it's shoot it. Yeah, just get the puck to the net and see what happens. And now you have enough size to get somebody into the crease. I think that's one of the things that Craig Berube specifically will focus on, is getting a guy to the crease where you can just have a puck bounce off him and go into the net.
Any concern about Pavel Buchnevich being injured again?
Yeah, and it was a big hit. It wasn't a legal hit, but the fact that he wasn't there, that he missed 19 games last year. He missed 9 the year before. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but the most important ability is availability, and especially because the Blues, They have some depth in areas. They don't have scoring depth. Yeah. If they lose a scorer, it's going to affect them dramatically.
And he is a big scorer. Even with the games that he missed last season, I don't think he was far behind when it came to being at the top in points, even with as much time as he missed last season. So that shows the impact that he has. The power play, I do think, is something that is really concerning. You hope that with more time and more practice that comes together, because it just feels very similar to what you saw last year. And that's what Kerb said yesterday. And that's not a good thing that you want to hear, right? Special teams needs to be way better than that.
And it would seem like at the end of training camp. You did have all off season to implement a plan, and that's one of the things that you had the opportunity with all that practice during training camp. You had the opportunity to work on. Now the Blues were off yesterday, but they've got today and tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a game on Thursday. They've got a couple of days to hopefully work on what they're doing to get the power play going, because that's a huge part. It's one of the biggest parts of the league, is having a solid special teams. You want your power play and your penalty kill to add up to 110%.
And the PK has looked good.
It has.
It's just the power play.
The fact that you only have 2 shots on goal is concerning.
Yeah,
Like
in 2 games.
you have an advantage. Shoot the puck.
Yeah.
And worse, I mean, you get a rebound, you put it back in, or it goes in on the attempt. Just shoot the puck. It feels like they're trying to be too perfect as opposed to putting the puck on the net and seeing what happens.
So as we go in depth, because we like the under the radar numbers, right? The underlying numbers. One key underlying number to remember, it's going to be hard to maintain this, is having as many goals overturned with challenges as you have shots on goal on the power play.
that is intriguing.
I should hedge my bet against that.
Yeah, don't count on 82.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then fine. Well, there goes my betting plan for the year.
That's my underlying number for you for today here on 101 ESPN.
That's good.
Thanks. Coming up here on the opening drive with Brooke, Carrie, Randy, and Matthew. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line. 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. We've got Take It or Leave It next on 101 ESPN.
Or leave it. Want to say something? Want to put it out there? Do you like like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Matthew Rocchio, we want your texts for Take It or Leave It. Kids, I don't know if you saw this, but the IOC formally approved flag football for the 2028 Summer Olympics. Okay, in LA. So you have answered my question because my Take It or Leave It was going to be you'll be tuned in.
I'll take it.
It's going to be like the dream team, the real dream team, playing against everyone. But yeah, take it.
And take it or leave it. You want to see Kadarius Toney and Tyreek Hill on our flag football team.
Take it.
Yeah. Didn't they come out and say that they would like to participate? I know that Tyreek Hill did. That wouldn't be fair.
Kadarius Toney, you got to catch the ball, though.
That's true.
Struggled that first
Who's
game.
our quarterback?
Can Patty Mahomes
It
be a
has to be
quarterback?
Mahomes.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
We're putting out the best of the best.
Okay. I was thinking of the most elusive quarterback that can throw the ball around a little bit. I guess Mahomes is that guy.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
That'd be awesome.
USA.
Do they even know what flag football is in some of the other
No, that's
countries?
the great thing about
I just want to ask that. I didn't know if that was a stupid question or not, but
the problem.
Dominate.
Yeah.
they'd be like, "What? Flag football?"
What is this? So Aaron Rodgers was on the sideline for the game the other night, without a boot, without crutches, throwing passes pregame. Said he was helping the coaches on the sideline with a few calls. Take it or leave it. Ayahuasca does really help.
I'm going to take it. We need some research on this.
Man, I'm going to find me a darkness retreat here in the off season. Get my life in order. Hey, see y'all in a week.
I'm going to take that. But was it a little concerning seeing him, I guess, without crutches? It does feel like a little too soon, but I mean, if it works, it works.
I don't think it's the best idea to be on an NFL sideline without crutches or without a boot because people run that way and he ain't going to be able to get out of the way. So, yeah, I don't think that's a great idea, but it's amazing to see him outside walking around without any assistance.
I have a feeling with Aaron Rodgers, he just does what he wants to do, and I don't think anybody can tell him otherwise.
You're probably not correct.
Well, yesterday we talked about this, and now some more details have emerged, and I'm pretty furious about it, guys. Kim Ng, as we know, Kim and the Marlins mutually parted ways, but now more details have come out, and they were basically wanting to hire somebody above her, despite everything that she was able to do this season, really turning things around with the Marlins, bringing in Skip, as we know, but just everything else, all the other aspects that she's done. Take it or leave it. This is going to be one of the worst offseason moves in Major League Baseball.
Totally take it. Yeah. I mean, I know there's only 30 of those jobs.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, if you are established, why would you want to take the Marlins job? I mean,
because you see that history of how this has happened.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. This owner, Bruce Sherman, he caused Derek Jeter to want to walk out the door. Kim Ng was given an opportunity that no other woman had ever been given, and she flew with it. She was fantastic.
Yes.
And now she wants to leave because they want to hire a president of baseball operations above her. It's just ridiculous.
That's demoralizing, is what that is.
What you do, if you're the Marlins and you're sensible, you say, okay, Kim, you are our president of baseball operations. Go hire a general manager. That's the way that's supposed to work.
Exactly. Also, second, take it or leave it, Randy Flores might be somebody that the Marlins will be looking at.
I'll take it. They should be looking at him. Yeah, I'll take it. That'd be smart. And I know that Skip, being a teammate of Flo's, would highly recommend him, and that'd be a sensible move on the part of the Marlins. Take it or leave it. The Cardinals can't let that happen.
I'm going to take it. There's no way. But, I mean, Randy Flores is going to be very sought after, and rightfully so.
Yep. All right, Matthew, what do we got on the text line?
Take it or leave it. Kerry Davis should coach the United States men's national flag football team.
If I got Tyreek Hill and Kadarius Toney and Patrick Mahomes,
we going to do some things?
Man, I'm going to put my damn feet up and watch them play football against people that don't play football.
Yeah, be fun.
Kerry's going to specifically actually bring a pad of dirt for them to draw plays out in.
Man.
Just like he's going to bring one, he's going to put it on the sideline and just go, here, go draw up your
I'm
plays
gonna
right
say,
here.
you guys got it. Ready, break. The hell you need me for?
I wonder what country would pose the biggest threat.
Ooh,
That's a very good question.
somebody who plays rugby really well, possibly.
good call,
Well, then they're used to probably a little bit more
I was
violence.
going to say Germany because I feel like they have had the most European. Canada, yeah. I was going to say Germany's had like the most European guys actually like come over and play college football and stuff.
Canada has an entire league of.
This thing. Yeah, Canada's got a whole league.
And they produce obviously great athletes and elusive athletes. So yeah, I think that's a good call.
I think Jim Tom Sula or is
somewhere.
Is he? I think he's over in Germany. He just like coached an undefeated team, like 16-0, and won the championship with the Rhine team.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got a whole league over there.
How did Jim Tom Sula wind up as an NFL head coach? Oh my God.
Greg Schiano did too. Don't forget that.
Well, at least he had success somewhere, you know. What was Jim Tom Sula?
Greg Schiano.
Rutgers. He turned around Rutgers. Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
So even better than Jim Tom Sula.
Leonard Lee turned around Rutgers.
No.
Take it or leave it. O'Neal, Donovan, Carlson, Gorman. 3 of the 4 are traded this offseason.
O'Neal, Donovan, Carlson, Gorman.
O'Neal, Donovan.
I think the better thing
are not here next year.
2 of the 3. 2 of the 4.
Yeah, it says 3 of the 4.
I'm going to say 3. I'm going to take that.
You think Gorman is out of here?
I think he's got a very
Where's he going? Seattle or Chicago?
1 of 2.
How about L.A.?
Oh, no. I know where you're going with this, and I don't like it. I don't like it, Randy.
I'm just saying.
I don't even want to believe in it. Just go ahead and say
They have young starting pitching there. They have a wealth of young starting pitching.
But
they're going to sign a couple
they're
of
going to
free
want
agents.
somebody else besides Nolan Gorman.
Oh, I don't know. You never know.
Can't trade with both.
They're going to want. J.D. Martinez is leaving. They're going to want an inexpensive DH. Mm-hmm. So, and by the way, they're expensive DH. Here's one thing that would preclude that: if they have Shohei Ohtani, they have no need for Nolan Gorman.
Oh,
yeah.
How about that?
How about that? Chicago would be my choice, CD, to answer your question. White Sox.
Yes.
Make sure we're clear on
Not
that.
the Cubbies.
Right. And my guess would be that Tyler O'Neill probably doesn't have much value in a trade and probably gets non-tendered.
Mm-hmm.
Take it or leave it. Tyreek Hill finishes the season with 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and does not win the MVP.
Oh, if he does that, he has to win the MVP because there isn't a quarterback, in my opinion, that's just running away with it right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there's.
I'll leave it.
Yeah, if he finishes with 2,000 yards, come on, man.
What if Tua's throwing it to him, though?
I still think Tyreek has 814 yards in 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
That's absurd.
He's great.
It's possible.
Take it or leave it. Why, instead of worrying about losing Flo, why don't we just replace Mo with Flo? Take it or leave it.
Well, that's not going to happen, so I'll have to leave it because they already said that Mo's going to be here in an elevated role.
Yeah. And give Mo credit for bringing in talented people like Randy Flores to conduct the draft. And before that, Correa's one draft was really good. Dan Kantrovitz, who's a scouting director now in Chicago with the Cubs, former Cardinal guy. The Cardinals, they develop people, and that's what you want to do. What you want is for the people that you hire to blossom and be able to improve themselves elsewhere. And the Cardinals do a really good job of that.
Carrie, this one's for you. Take it or leave it. With Bowers out for Georgia, Mizzou can beat every team left on their schedule. That schedule, by the way, is South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas.
Take it.
I'm going to have to leave that.
Why would you do that, Carrie?
What, do you think Bowers is the only player that Georgia has?
Name one time that Georgia had a big-name player injured. They came to Mizzou and still won the game.
Anytime.
Except for that time when Nick Chubb was up back up and ripped their throat out.
No.
Other than that one really stark example, give me another
Their
one.
best chance to win against Georgia was last year when Georgia was sleepwalking through the game. And the Tigers got down to the 3-yard line and false started and then didn't score a touchdown on that drive.
It's just the thing that at this point, the Georgia game now in my mind is they play really good and
If they at Georgia,
something really stupid ends the game.
Who does Georgia play? They're at Georgia or they're at home?
That's a home game, right? No, last year it was home. Last year was at Columbia.
The away games left are Georgia and Arkansas. They host South Carolina, Tennessee, and Florida.
Now, the question would be, who does Georgia play after Mizzou? Because they play Ole Miss.
They play
So maybe there's a chance you got a little bit of looking forward and not paying attention to your current opponent. So maybe, they got a game. They both put on pants and pads. They got a chance.
Does Mizzou having a...
That is the most political answer ever, CD. The way we need to have you run for office because the way you were able to just really walk around that one.
Yeah, everybody got on shoulder pads and helmets.
Something happened to you that one day you went after Mizzou, and I don't like it. That was fun.
Yeah, Mizzou beat Georgia 41-26. The first year they won the SEC East. And then the next year they won the SEC East. Let's see, the Georgia game.
They got rolled by Georgia, didn't they?
Did they win the SEC?
SEC East, they've won it a couple times, yeah.
They didn't win the SEC, though?
Not the SEC.
No. It doesn't count.
We're not saying they won the SEC, Kerry. We're saying they won the SEC East.
But the way that people say it, it's like they actually won the SEC.
The thing is if your team plays in your conference championship game, I think that's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but it's a bigger deal to win the damn game.
Oh, it is.
Right,
Yeah,
nobody.
When you're playing Alabama, that's kind of like acting like, all due respect to Arkansas and their fans, or Texas A&M. It's not like you're going to go beat Nick Saban on a regular basis. Well, I think that's pretty unrealistic. Or, for that matter, Urban Meyer. When Urban Meyer when he was winning 90% of his games at Ohio State. Illinois is not going to do that. Missouri's not going to do that. It's just not realistic.
In the words of the great St. Louis poet, Cornell Haynes, 2 is not a winner, and 3, nobody remembers.
Oh.
There you go.
Hey, I mean,
shout out to Nelly.
07 and 13 happened, and I guess I just got to live with
happened?
that.
Well, I would rather have played in those games than have dealt with 84 through 97.
I would have rather have played in them as well, but I also would rather have won.
But you can understand why being one game away from 2 different championship game appearances in the 21st century, why that's changed Mizzou's perspective and why it's something that Mizzou fans say, listen, this is where we were. 2 things happened differently in some of those games, and we play in a national championship game, which, again, the framing is that Mizzou is never a team that will play for a national championship.
And if
that's why it matters,
and if you can't enjoy a season unless you win a championship, then you're miserable.
Can I give y'all, we had a great season in 2001 at Illinois, right? We were number 7 in the country. We lost to Michigan on the road. If we beat Michigan on the road at Michigan, that's the only Big Ten game we lost, we probably play in the national championship game. Guess what? No. You see how your face did? That's exactly how I feel when you talk about Mizzou. The same way. Yeah, okay, whatever.
You said probably.
Probably because we are
It's a guarantee Mizzou plays the national championship game those 2 years if they win that game.
We are undefeated if we beat Michigan. But you know what we didn't do?
Didn't beat them.
Then it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That's all I'm saying.
So you don't care about that season at all? Wow.
I care about it, but I don't care to imagine what if we would have beat Michigan. Maybe we play in the national championship. Woo! Like, no, I don't care. Nobody cares what happens if you did something, except for Mizzou fans.
You never would have.
If we win, if you did, the fact that Mizzou fans talk about the SEC East, we won the SEC East so much, nobody cares.
Well, but I think
won't say nobody.
As a Mizzou fan,
I don't care.
I will say this, and understanding the inherent limitations of Mizzou football, because there is a 100-year advantage for some schools
Randy,
in
I went
quality
to Illinois.
football.
I get it.
Yeah, but I'm
also a realist.
I'm capable of enjoying a football season knowing that my team's not going to win the national championship. And I feel bad for people that can't enjoy
tell
a
that
season.
to the rest of the Missouri fans.
Well, I think there's every game is sold out. I think they're enjoying it.
And they should be.
Yeah. So
just have reasonable expectations. That's all.
And you know what? I think everybody should feel that way, right? Yeah. And that there's a lot of schools that are spending $90 million on coaches that have pretty unreasonable expectations.
I agree. Yeah. So
it ain't going to happen for Michigan State.
It's not. There's a lot of teams
a random
it ain't
shot
going to happen for. So,
Well, it's not going to happen for A&M. It's not going to happen for Arkansas. Is going to fire another coach.
It is what it is, man. Like, it's just the SEC East Championship. Just, it's wonderful.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, our fresh take. Is the Blues system sustainable for 80 games? It's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
A fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, and the Blues off to a 1-0-1 start. They have the win on Saturday night against Seattle after suffering the overtime loss in the opener against the Dallas Stars. And the Blues, under Craig Berube, have implemented a new system this year, and the defense has not shut down the opposition in terms of shots on goal. What you want to do, at least this is the way Bob Plager always talked about it, you want to keep the puck out of the middle of the ice. And the Blues are trying to keep the puck to the perimeter and try to allow shots that the goalie has an opportunity to stop. And the question becomes, if you allow 32 shots a game, can you win a Stanley Cup? I would recommend that you take a look at the statistics for the 1980s Edmonton Oilers for a determination as to whether or not you can win a Stanley Cup allowing a lot of shots. Now, the game has changed dramatically, but what it comes down to is, what sort of shots are you allowing? If you're allowing 32 shots a game and 10 of them are high danger shots from the crease, probably not sustainable. But if you're allowing shots from the perimeter that Jordan Binnington has a good look at, for the most part, if Jordan Binnington has a look at a puck, he's going to stop it. So, yes, I would say that is something that is sustainable. I would also suggest, though, that as this team goes along, they're going to practice much more puck possession in the offensive zone, and that in and of itself will decrease the shots against. If you increase offensive puck possession and have the puck 180 to 200 feet from the opposition's net, it's much more difficult for them to get a shot on goal.
And it's such a small sample size right now that it feels hard to be too critical of everything. Even if you look at the shots allowed per game last year, 32.3, and then shots allowed per game this year, 32.5. But of course, smaller sample size that we've seen so far through 2 games this season. And so it's not exactly egregious. And you talked about, the goals that you have seen the Blues given up. Jordan Binnington obviously is fantastic. He's really standing on his head, but it feels like the team is never getting an easy goal. The other team is never getting an easy goal, and that's what you're talking about with those high danger chances, because Jordan Binnington can really handle things. And he also just looks very confident in himself this year. Not that he hasn't before, but this is a almost more calmer confidence and demeanor about him this season, and I think you're seeing that pay off. The only thing that I think is probably concerning or egregious right now is the power play. We've been talking about that. I think that is something that is concerning, and it's going to take time. There's no quick fix for this right now. They just aren't meshing. They're out of whack with their breakouts, and once they get set up in the offensive zone, there's not much happening there, as we've seen, obviously, with 0 goals.
Yeah, I think that, one way to fix that is shoot the puck. I mean,
Hey, we need to get you on the bench and say, shoot the puck.
I think that's one way to fix the power play. Just shoot the puck. At some point, one of them got to go in. You got more guys on the ice than they do. Shoot it and go get a rebound and try to figure it out. But I think that we saw this in the preseason. You talk about a small sample size, 2 games, yeah, but in the preseason, we saw this many shots on goal. So it seems as though, this is the style of defense that they're going to play. And again, like Randy said, as long as they aren't shots that are right in front of the goaltender where he has an opportunity to see him from a ways away, or you have bodies in front of him that can block some of those shots, I think it makes it less dangerous, which is better for Jordan Binnington. He was one of the best players last year on a team that wasn't really good, and the Blues were losing, 4-1, 5-1. And you could ask, well, why? How is the goalie playing well, but they gave up 4 goals? Well, 3 of them weren't really on him. So it's exciting to see how well he's playing right now with the better defense in front of him. I'm with you, though. I do want to see more opportunities of scoring on the power play. If you have a man advantage, you have to get the shots on the net to see if you can get a rebound. Or sometimes things just go your way. It finds a way to get into the net. But if you don't shoot it, you'll never score.
Yeah, I think sometimes because of all the numbers, we have a tendency to complicate hockey.
Yes.
And it's basically pretty simple. Keep the puck on the perimeter, chip it out of your own zone, get it to one of your teammates, let the clock be your coach. There are so many things. Get the puck in the offensive zone, forecheck, bang bodies, and get the puck away from the opposition in the offensive zone. It really is not as complicated as a lot of people would like to make it. And that's one of the things I love about Chief. Chief makes it very simple. You have to be willing to sacrifice your body. You have to be willing to live with a little pain sometimes to win at hockey. But it is, at its core, a very simple sport.
Well, and the block shots is one of the biggest things that I've noticed as a huge positive. Outside of Jordan Binnington is the block shots. And also Colton Parayko being a part of that. I mean, you had 18 block shots in general against Dallas. And then Seattle, they had 17 block shots. Colton Parayko in that game against Seattle accounted for 6 of the block shots. To me, I think you're seeing possibly in these first few games a healthier Colton Parayko in action. And we know that he's battled through injuries, and I almost wonder if that's how he kind of played or why he kind of played conservatively early last season. And we saw a better version of him towards the end of the season last year. But I think that maybe you can see a healthier Colton Parayko in action. And the block shots, when you see a guy sacrificing their body like that, then that really does elevate everybody else, because it just kind of is a mentality thing from that point where it's like, okay, if that guy is willing to do that, then I need to step up what I'm doing in the moment too.
I agree. I think he has been playing better. I think last year he was dealing with an injury, Randy. I can't remember. I think it was a back.
Well, how long did he have that?
About a week back.
No, this is an issue in St. Louis. This is not just a Cardinals issue. This is an issue in St. Louis. We need more chiropractors in the city.
But I do agree, Brooke. I think he is playing better. He looks healthier. It just looked like he was slow and a little bit sluggish last year, and so this year he does look a little bit better. And so hopefully this is the version of the St. Louis Blues that we'll get for 82 games. Now, we know that injuries will occur. We already had one with Pavel Buchnevich and him going down. I want to ask, when we talk to JK, I want to ask him who he thinks is going to be on that line with him. Who is the best fit to be on the line with Thomas and Kyrou with Buchnevich being out? Because I think that is an impactful moment, impactful thing with him being out for an extended period of time or for a week or two.
Up there?
I thought Saad performed pretty well with him the other night.
Yeah, and they did put Saad up there. But what about Vrana?
I would like that. I think both of those guys flying on the.
I just don't know if you have enough defensive consciousness there. You know,
you're gonna get shots on goal though.
You are.
You're worried about that top line.
So that's today's Fresh Take. By the way, I think one of the things I want to make this other point about Parayko.
Yes.
I think that the Blues have come to an understanding and talked to Colton about this, and we need to come to the understanding that he's not going to be a 60-point defenseman. He's not going to be Drew Doughty. He's not going to be the guy, and he has the ability to get the puck out of the zone, and he's got the big shot. But ask him to be like Jay Bouwmeester. Ask him to be a great defender, and if the offense is there, take advantage of it. But I don't think that the expectations of Parayko have been what his skill set really is. And that's an emotional, that's a mental, that's a physical skill set. I think asking him to be the best defender that he can be is the best way to utilize him.
Yeah, and it's hard to go out and find something that can replace that, right? That's a lot of minutes to cover. And so I think just letting him, as you mentioned, just be who he is. And I feel like he was at his best when he was with Jay Bouwmeester. Those two together were really good during the Stanley Cup run. So that's something to look to. He's never going to be Pronger. Maybe he gets a little bit angrier, but I don't know. Colton Parayko, I can't see him. He's like the gentle green giant, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. That's Brooke, that's Carrie, I'm Randy. Coming up, speaking of John Kelly, the TV voice of the Blues, joins us next on 101 ESPN. Great that hockey season is back, and I had the opportunity the other night to hop on the Metrolink and take that to the hockey game, and if you have that opportunity, you should take advantage of it as well. It's so easy, it's so efficient, you don't have to deal with all of the hassle of dealing with the parking pay that you have to $20, $30, $40 for parking. Don't have to do that when you use the Metrolink. Don't have to deal with the traffic. It makes life a whole lot easier. And if you want to explore St. Louis without the stress of driving, well, Metro can take you to a lot of different popular attractions and events. If you need flexibility, Metro offers various ticket options. You can get a monthly pass. You can just get a round trip for your trip or just go one way. That'll accommodate your busy lifestyle. Don't let preconceived notions hold you back. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Understand that a healthy Metro is vital to the viability to attract big companies to St. Louis. And if you think it isn't safe, do a little homework and find out for yourself that Metro's way safer than you probably ever thought. It's Metro. Try the Metrolink, try the Metro bus. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Talking everything St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Carrie and Randy, we head to the Celebrity Line, and your TV voice of the Blues, I'm Bally. John Kelly joins us, as he does every Tuesday morning. JK, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Everything's good. Okay, so the Blues have a couple of days off to practice here. They're one of 7 teams without a power play goal. In your experience, John, especially early in the season, how much value is there in getting a couple of days just to practice things like special teams?
Well, it's something, Randy, as you know, they practice almost every single day. And in every game day skate, they go over their power play alignment and personnel and things like that. So, it's really early. And I will say this, that in the first game, they faced perhaps one of the best penalty killing units in the league in the Dallas Stars. And they pressure you all over the ice. And the Blues didn't make the adjustments necessary in the few power plays they had. And I thought they had some better looks in the last game, but it's far too early to panic. I guess conversely, the penalty killing is really good, and that really struggled a year ago. So I always say though, if you win the special teams and the goaltending battle every night, and obviously what does it mean to win the goaltending battle? Obviously that can be subjective, but if your goalie is better than the other team's goalie and you win the special teams, you'll probably win 90% of the game. So it's crucially important to do well in both areas. So hopefully the Blues can get their power play going here in Game 3.
You just talked about Jordan Binnington a little bit there. Obviously, he has been really good in these first 2 games here. Do you think that this is sustainable, though, for the rest of the season with Binnington?
Well, he's not going to have a 1.00 goals against or a little less than that, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Binnington, I think that he gets, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves, Brooke, quite honestly. I mean, I think some people who might not see the Blues play a lot or at all, and they say, well, look at his numbers last year. He didn't have a very good year. Well, conversely, I think he had a very good year. And, he did get worn down last year because the Blues were desperate for wins, and Thomas Greiss, wasn't able to go on a roll, and they didn't use him in that area as well. But, I think that he's still an excellent goaltender, and obviously, he won that cup and has a lot of swagger. And the thing I like about him early on is his confidence level. He's challenging so well, and the Blues are at the same time doing a great job of blocking shots, keeping shots from the outside. And this new defensive system, although it's very early, I like what I've seen, that they're keeping the things to the outside and making his job, a bit easier. Obviously, it's not that easy. I mean, he's only let in 2 goals, but he's off to a great start, and that's certainly wonderful to see.
John Kelly, it's interesting that you bring that up. We were talking about it in the last segment about keeping things on the perimeter. And when I hear you talk about it, or I hear the coaches talk about it, it's what Bob Plager told us for years, right? It's really a pretty simple game, and part of it is keeping the puck out on the perimeter and not in the middle of the ice.
Yeah, exactly. And, if you watch hockey and, you're a student of the game and, players on the ice, and it's so much easier, obviously, watching from the stands or the press box. It's like, why did this guy do this or whatever? But it's not that easy. But, when teams cycle the puck, and that's what they do now, and, obviously teams are scoring more off the rush, but generally speaking, teams cycle the puck. Well, guess what? Eventually the puck's got to get to the middle of the ice or to the front of the net. So if you defend that area, then you are going to prevent so many grade A scoring chances. And, it also takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts to block shots. And the Blues, I don't know exactly how many they had. They had 18 in Dallas and probably more than that the other night against the Kraken. But not only do you have to play hard and play the system, but you've got to be willing to eat pucks, as the coach says, and they've done a lot of that in the first 2 games.
JK, how impactful is the Pavel Buchnevich injury to this roster right now?
Well, Kerry, I think that you could argue he is one of the most important players on the team. He really, to me, when you look at the Robert Thomas and Kyrou and Buchnevich line, he's almost the defensive conscience on that line. A super two-way player that can score and also make plays. So if he's gone for any length of time, that's going to be a huge blow because, like I said, I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 players on this hockey team.
Have you been able to, and like we've said, there's only 2 games. Have you been able to develop any early impressions of Kevin Hayes?
Not really. Kevin Hayes has been, he's been fine and solid. And obviously I think it's going to take him some time to blend in with, his line mates Vrana and Sammy Blais. But, defensively, he looks very responsible and a big body. And, I saw him play a couple of the preseason games and obviously in workouts and things like that. But, I think that a year ago, as we know, he had 18 goals. And with the players he's playing with and the role that he has on this hockey team, there's no way that he can't score 15 to 20 goals and be a solid third-line center. And who knows, maybe more. I don't know. But, so far so good as far as he's concerned.
Well, I'm sure we'll see at practice today who will be kind of working with that top line. I know that they had Brandon Saad in the game after Buchnevich left. What do you think about Vrana going to that top line?
Well, it'd be a lot of speed, I'll tell you that, because aside from Jordan Kyrou, Brooke, Vrana might be the fastest player on the team. That certainly would be an option. I think the one argument to be made for Saad, if they're going to put him there again, like they did the other night, is that he's a better two-way player than Jacob Vrana. So, we'll see. But obviously, that would be enticing to have Robert Thomas, who's an elite passer, to play with two, blazing skaters like Vrana and Jordan Kyrou. But I guess we'll find out in a few hours what happens.
JK, I want to go back to the defense, and you talked about eating pucks. Does that put the players at risk of potential injury, more injuries when they're stepping in front of those shots in the manner in which they're expected to?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you have to do is cross your fingers that, they don't get, the broken ankles and whatever. Obviously it's a danger and it's a risk. But nowadays the equipment, Kerry, is so good compared to what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago that almost every player, that's to me one of the biggest differences I see in the game today from the early days of the Blues. The Plager brothers, they blocked a lot of shots, and Al Arbor with his glasses blocked a lot of shots. But, generally speaking, that was it, and the forwards really didn't do that as much. But now every single player on the team is capable and willing to block shots. So, but to get to your point, obviously that is a risk. When you play that style, you're going to block a lot more shots, and obviously the correlation between injuries goes up. But hopefully the Blues can avoid that and stay healthy. It's not realistic. Someone's going to get hurt at some point, but the risk is higher for sure when you block that many.
2 official games. Have you determined whether or not the greatest challenge of your career is keeping Jamie Rivers under control?
No, Jamie's doing a great job. Love working with him, and he's having fun. And he had done, of course, about 20 games the last couple of years, but it was tough for him at times because he'd do a game and then not do another game for 20. And you're riding the bike and then you're off the bike and back on. Now he knows he's going to be here every single night, so we'll develop more chemistry and draw out that personality of his. He's a funny guy, so we're having a lot of fun so far.
That's what it's all about. John Kelly, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
See you later. That's John Kelly, TV voice of the Blues, joined by every broadcast, our own Jamie Rivers, who you can hear from 2 to 6 afternoons here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. And Jamie is, believe me, John, he's uncontrollable.
He's uncontrollable? What do you mean?
He's the best. No, he's fun. He's funny. It's fun to have him as part of your show.
Yes. I also love listening to him on the broadcast. I think he's done a fantastic job. Very insightful.
Yeah. The best guys are guys that make it fun and teach you something, and Jamie does that.
He does a great job of that.
Coming up next on 101 ESPN, how did we do with the fight yesterday at 101 ESPN?
I lost 2-1. It's a rough day.
Okay, that happens. No, you'd been on a roll.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, we'll see if we can straighten things out here. So we have a fighter coming up. What's his name or her name?
Well, he's got Kevin, probably. Kevin? Oh, there you go.
Kevin! Okay, he's next on 101 ESPN.
There's no better place to spend a Saturday night than at the Blues game at Enterprise Center. And we've got your chance to win a pair of tickets and see your St. Louis Blues take on the Pittsburgh Penguins this Saturday night, October 21st. Hockey season is back. Get entered to win that free pair of tickets for Blues versus Penguins now at 101ESPN.com or your 101 mobile app. And let's go Blues.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-238-7360. That's 314-238-7360. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Here we are in mid-October, and during this month, Hoffman Brothers is partnering with the American Cancer Society to promote breast cancer awareness. This month, if you have a Hoffman Brothers field professional out to your home or business, you'll see them wearing a pink hat and pink shoe covers in support of breast cancer awareness. In 2020, they lost an employee of over 25 years to breast cancer, and whatever Hoffman Brothers can do to help improve the lives of those living with breast cancer through advocacy, research, and patient support, they're going to do. You can support the American Cancer Society by using Hoffman Brothers during the month of October. Get your furnace checked. It was 40 degrees in St. Louis this morning. It's going to get colder, and you don't want to have layers of clothing just to make it through the winter. Get your home ready for fall and winter by getting your furnace checked out by Hoffman Brothers. Call 314-664-3011 or go to hoffmanbros.com. Hoffman Brothers is a proud Mitsubishi Electric elite contractor providing homeowners with customized comfort solutions for any room in your home. Set your appointment today with Hoffman Brothers at hoffmanbros.com.
If you're about to trade your car to a dealership or Carvana, stop. It's your car. Why let someone else make thousands off of it? Get full retail value without the retail hassle at sellmycarstl.com. That's sellmycarstl.com.
Another Club Car Wash is now open with a new location in O'Fallon at 3641 Monticello Drive. New members only. For a limited time, unlimited washes are just $10 a month for the first 3 months. Club Car Wash, now open in O'Fallon.
Join the club. We want to hear from you. Text us at 314-399-9646 on the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, Monday Night Football, the Cowboys over the Chargers 22-17 after a late pick from Justin Herbert. Cowboys defense forces 8 pressures but gets to Herbert just 1 time. And the Major League Baseball playoffs yesterday was the ALCS and NLCS in action. Rangers over the Astros 5-4. They've opened up a 2-0 lead in that ALCS, while the Phillies win Game 1 over the D-backs 5-3. Game 2, Diamondbacks Phillies tonight 7:07 first pitch. You can catch that right here on 101 ESPN. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Live from the Car Shield studio. Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I am Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter again for the second day, Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
Hey, CD, how are you, sir?
Doing wonderful. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker? You got a big win yesterday against me. I was a little bit frustrated. Not gonna tell you a lie. I was a little bit bothered. Didn't sleep well last night. Stayed up all night thinking about some of the decisions that I made during the fight. So hopefully you slept pretty well and you're well rested and ready to take on Randy Carricker.
Yeah, I had my family call me Champ all day. They didn't really like that. So.
Okay. Good job. All right, here we go. On this day in 1996, the Cardinals fell in Game 7 of the NLCS to the Braves. The Cardinals pitching was less than stellar in that game as the Braves went on to win 15-0. Which Cardinals starter got the loss in that game? Is it Mike Morgan, Alan Bennis, or Donovan Osborne?
Donovan Osborne.
Question number 2. With his home run last night, Nick Castellanos joined this Hall of Famer as the only players to hit 5 home runs in a 3-game span during the postseason. Is it Manny Ramirez, Reggie Jackson, or David Ortiz?
Let's do Big Papi.
Speaking of the Phillies' home runs last night, Bryce Harper became the 4th player to hit a playoff home run on their birthday. Which Cardinal was the last one to do it, pulling off that feat against the Cubs in 2015? Is it Jason Hayward, Mark Reynolds, or Colton Wong?
Do Colton Wong.
Final question. The Phillies won their 10th straight home playoff game against a National League opponent, a new Major League Baseball record, passing the 04-05 Cardinals. Which team ended that Cardinals streak at 9? Was it the Dodgers, the Padres, or the Astros?
The Astros.
All right, we'll double-check that score, and we'll bring in Randy Carricker.
Kevin, how you feel?
Terrible, CD. Terrible.
Really?
Terrible.
Oh, man. How did you feel yesterday? I'm intrigued now.
Really good. I felt pretty good yesterday, okay? I'm not going to lie. I felt pretty good yesterday.
Okay. Well, let's see how this goes. Randy Carricker is back in the building, in the room. Randy, say hello to Kevin.
Kevin, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Randy. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on your win yesterday, and we appreciate you playing.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Randy, you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. On this day in 1996, the Cardinals fell in Game 7 of the NLCS to the Braves. The Cardinals pitching was less than stellar in that game as the Braves went on to win 15-0. Which Cardinal starter got the loss in that game?
I didn't know a human being could sweat as much in 40-degree temperatures as Donovan Osborne did that night. I mean, you talk about the quintessential deer in headlights.
Is it too much for him?
Yeah, it was poor Donovan Osborne. Good guy, but he was overwhelmed by that situation, and the Cardinals were too. What was the score of that game?
15-0.
That was not great.
Not great.
Nope. Question number 2. With his home run last night, Nick Castellanos joined this Hall of Famer as the only players to hit 5 home runs in a 3-game span during the postseason. Who was it?
This Hall of Famer. I would guess that it's probably somebody that hit multiple home runs. Well, you almost have to. If you're going to hit 5 in 3 games, you almost have to hit multiple home runs in a postseason.
A little rhetorical, huh?
I am going to say that in 1977... Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, probably did that when he had his 3 home run game and then had 2 other games with homers. I'm going to go with Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
Speaking of Phillies home runs last night, Bryce Harper became the 4th player to hit a playoff home run on their birthday. Which Cardinal was the last one to do that, pulling off that feat against the Cubs in 2015?
2015. I will do the lifeline here.
Jason Hayward, Mark Reynolds, Colton Wong.
Okay. The J. Hay Kid, Mark Reynolds, or Wonger in that series against the Cubs that the Cardinals wound up losing. I will go with... I'll go with Wonger.
Final question. The Phillies won their 10th straight home playoff game against a National League opponent, a new Major League Baseball record, passing the 04-05 Cardinals. Which team ended that Cardinals streak at 9?
04-05 Cardinals. It seems like to win 10 in a row. They won 9 in a row, right? So and
yes.
10 broke the record. 10 straight home wins. Okay, so in 05, we had Houston in the NLCS. Did they beat us at home? And who did we play in the first round that year? I'm trying to think. Was it a sweep 05? This should be easier for me than it is for some reason. Who did we have that year? Was anybody any good? We had the Braves. I'm not sure, but I'll say that it was Houston. I'll say that Houston broke that string.
All right, we have a outright winner in today's fight, but it was very, very close. In fact, I don't think we've had a 2-point win in a fight in like a week at this point. It's been all one-question wins, and today was no different. Another one-question win. Was it Kevin on his way to a Hall of Fame shot on Wednesday, or did Randy Carricker come in here 3 days rest with another win? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
Oh, I forgot this part of it.
Just win, baby.
It had been a while.
There it is, Kevin. I'm sorry. Randy Carricker hit the jack. He got all 4 correct. He beat you 4-3 today.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you so much for joining the show, Kevin. Let's go through those questions and answers. On this day in 1996, the Cardinals get blanked 15-0 in Game 7 of the NLCS. It was, in fact, Donovan Osborne who gets tagged for 6 earned runs in the first, goes just 2 2/3.
So are you guys aware of the scores of the final 3 games of that series after the Cardinals were up 3-1?
Great.
Games 1 through 4, the Cardinals took 3 out of 4. Game 5, they lose 14-0. Game 6, they lose 3-1. Game 7, they lose 15-0.
They lost 32-1 in the last 3 games of an LCS.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No, it was not. It's troubling.
With his home run last night, Nick Castellanos joined this Hall of Famer as the only player to hit 5 home runs in the 3-game span during the postseason. This was the difference maker in the fight, as Randy correctly went with Mr. October, who in games 4, 5, and 6 of that 1977 World Series put up 1 home run, and then 3 home runs in Game 6 to put in 5 in 3 games. Speaking of Phillies home runs last night, Bryce Harper became the 4th player to hit a playoff homer on their birthday. It was, in fact, Colton Wong against a loss to the Chicago Cubs in 2015, who hit a home run in Game 3. And the Phillies won their 10th straight home playoff game against the NL, a new Major League Baseball record, passing the 04-05 Cardinals. Which team ended that Cardinals streak at 9? It was, in fact, the Houston Astros, because the Cardinals beat up on the Padres in the series before that in 2005, and they beat up on both the Dodgers and the Astros in 2004 playoffs to start that streak, but again, broken by the Astros in Game 2 of that year's NLCS at Busch Stadium. So a 4-3 win for Randy Carricker today in the fight. Thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show, Kevin.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too, Kevin. Take care. Kevin with us on the fight on 101 ESPN. Coming up, it's the latest edition of our news segment, the Copycat Cardinals. Are the Phillies a better guide to how the Cardinals can balance a new influx of swing and miss pitching? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're a guy and you're feeling fatigued and you aren't as energetic as you want to be, you can be the best for your family and yourself by having more energy and a better attitude. Be the very best for your wife and kids by heading to Mantality. Get started at lowtusa.com and find out what Mantality does. I can tell you in capsule form what they do. They're going to check your testosterone level, which goes down in guys as you pass your 30th birthday, and they're going to restore your testosterone level with an FDA-approved testosterone treatment. When they restore your testosterone level, That will restore your energy level, restore your motivation. That fatigue that you're dealing with, that being tired all the time, that'll go by the wayside. You'll be able to come home and coach your kids and not crash on the couch right when you walk through the door. And if you'd use your body for your job, it makes such a big difference. If you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s and you're doing something like swinging a hammer or working on vehicles, it can make a huge difference for you going to Mentality. Chesterfield or South County, they'll work with your insurance company to keep costs low, and you can get back in the game with Mentality at lowtusa.com. Well, the Phillies are back in the National League Championship Series for a second consecutive year, perhaps on their way to the World Series for a second consecutive year. And as we talk about what the Cardinals need to do to try to copycat successful organizations, one of the things the Phillies have done, according to The Athletic, is specifically target relief pitchers. And it's not as if the Phillies, according to The Athletic, have stumbled upon some incredible revelation. Here's what their director of pitching development and assistant pitching coach Brian Kaplan said. I don't think it's a major secret that teams are trying to acquire stuff, but it's the consistency and the durability of the stuff from the beginning of the season all the way through the playoffs. That's what is truly valuable. And the Cardinals have never, at least in their successful run, had that throughout the course of, well, when Bruce Sutter was there, and this was back in the 80s, they had it. They had the same group of guys. But under the DeWitt ownership, for the most part, the Cardinals' big thing during the trade deadline has been to go get a reliever. In 2011, they completely turned over their bullpen. And it is harder now to make those trades, and I wonder what the Phillies are doing. And according to the article, the Phillies believe this is where they have uncovered something. They don't want to discuss it. It's one thing to target pitchers who throw hard. It's another to take those pitchers and optimize their pitch usage and strike throwing ability while keeping them healthy.
Everything circles back to talent evaluation and development, because while they didn't go into much depth or detail, they did reveal certain things. One, they talked about 5 years ago about what they considered their elite velocity being around around 95. Now they're looking at more 97, which is something that, of course, every Major League Baseball team wants. But they also invested significant resources into their biomechanics department. They really turned things around with their strength and conditioning, because not only was elite velocity a priority, but making that velocity durable for the entire season, not just the regular season, but they also spoke about an emphasis on postseason as well. And I think that that is interesting too, to think about, okay, when you're looking at this whole developing talent, how much does strength and conditioning play into that? And they saw that, and they made some significant changes starting in 2020, and they were awarded last season for the developments and their strength and conditioning department.
That was one of the things that during the season I thought may be something that they needed to look at, the Cardinals, speaking of that, because you had Steven Matz getting injured doing deadlifts in the weight room. You had guys with a lot of back injuries and obliques. Obliques can come from swinging the bat, but, you know, some of the injuries that I felt like they were dealing with came from, or could come from, you know, just not properly managing how they're taking care of their bodies, which is concerning if you have a multitude of injuries and a multitude of the same injuries. That becomes a question of how are we training on our off days? What are we doing to prepare our bodies? How are we staying ready? And the Cardinals have a lot of things to look at, not only on the field, but off of the field, how they're going to go forward in 2024 to be a better baseball team, because it just felt like it was so many things that went wrong last season. It's almost like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And so, you know, evaluating talent properly and then developing that talent properly, making sure that guys are who we think they are, and if they aren't, how do we get them better every single day? And that's again, I put a lot of that on the players to make sure that they're prepared, because I know some of the mistakes were just players on the field making mistakes, but some of the things can be corrected off of the field in terms of how you take care of your body and how you prepare.
And during this season, during the 2023 season, Phillies relievers threw harder fastballs on average than any other bullpen in baseball at 96.3 miles an hour. That was a half mile an hour faster than the next closest bullpen, and a full mile an hour faster on average than the third and fourth ranked bullpens. So how can the Cardinals copy this? It would seem that one way to start is to try to bring back Jordan Hicks.
I don't think that will happen. I think that ship has
that'll bring
sailed.
the velocity up.
Yeah, but if
that
you
is
want to do
elite
that,
velocity.
Yeah, one of the things the Phillies have is they have, and this is a conundrum, they have experienced youth, which is good. What the Cardinals need to do is determine who can and who cannot be a starter among their hard throwers. What is Gordon Graceffo going to be? Would he better serve the Cardinals in the bullpen or as a starter? What is Tink Hence, who throws almost 100 miles an hour? Would he better serve the Cardinals in the bullpen or as a starter? And then how can the Cardinals go about making those players as durable as possible? The Phillies ended the season with 2 relief pitchers on the injured list. You go back to what the Cardinals had on the heck. We lost our key guy before the season even started in Wilking Rodriguez, right? And then
Jojo Romero was on the IL. Steven Matz. Who am I missing? There were we
had a lot of guys.
Matthew
that
Liberatore
were
at the end.
Matthew Liberatore.
Yeah.
There was and that's what I'm saying. All of the injuries that took place, you start to question, you know, how are we preparing for day in and day out the rigors of an entire season, making sure the guys are ready, prepared, and staying healthy for the entire 162. Randy, I think one of the other issues, Packy Naughton. I think one of the other issues was we talked about just the inability to be flexible in the bullpen from this season. They had a bunch of guys that they could not bring up, or send down because of the lack of, you know, the lack of ability to move those guys. So going forward, again, I hope that the idea is to have some of those younger guys in the bullpen, get you some veteran starters, get a couple of them, get some young guys in the bullpen so they can all learn, mesh, and grow together as a unit.
And one other quick point I want to make is you do have to, and the Phillies did a great job of maximizing. One of the things that Dave Dombrowski has said in the piece is that we had coaches at our major league level and throughout our system who wanted to maximize the talents. Clearly, I think this is we can state fact here that when you have as many relievers leave the Cardinals and go elsewhere and perform at a higher level, the Cardinals aren't maximizing their relief pitchers as well as they can, because Texas got more out of Stratton, the Blue Jays got more out of Genesis Cabrera. We've seen it throughout the last couple of years, but specifically to this year with Blake Wheeler being in charge of the pitching, it's not happening this year.
No, that's not his name. Yeah, but that's the point, though, too, is that when you see these pitchers go elsewhere, you wonder about what is going on from the talent evaluation standpoint. And when you're talking about Gordon Graceffo and Michael McGreevy, you need to be ahead in those situations because you also don't want to go through another Zach Thompson situation. I know that John Mozeliak addressed that towards the end of the season, that was something that they will look back on as kind of a mistake in how they need to handle these situations moving forward, because having him go up and down, having him in the bullpen, then stretching him out as a starter, just think about how much further he could have been in one of these defined roles if you did not do that to him in those situations. And you can't make the same mistake with some of these younger pitchers, especially when you're rebuilding this bullpen moving forward. So it goes all back to talent evaluation, saying, hey, this is your defined role, this is what you're working with, we won't move it. Explain to them why, because some, as we saw with Jordan Hicks, he was still talking about being a starter for a while there. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I get giving guys opportunities, but at the same time, if you know that he is best as a closer or a reliever role, then you need to go ahead and say, this is going to be a role and here's why, and have everything. You have the numbers to back it up. Show him why, because he really exceeded expectations in that role and when he was able to thrive. And I think that's the thing that you have to do moving forward, is just identifying that talent, define role, and just keeping it that way. And I like what the Phillies did too about re-looking at the little details of things, of looking at their strength and conditioning and seeing how that factors into keeping these guys durable for the rest of the season. There's so many little things. There's the obvious things, but the little details like that also make a difference.
Randy, you weren't here yesterday, but we talked about Martin Kilcoyne had a piece where he talked about Yadier Molina potentially returning. How does that impact the bullpen and the starters?
Let me start with this. Okay, why would you hire Yadier Molina as your bench coach when everybody in the world knows that if he's your bench coach, he's your manager? Right?
What if he were your pitching coach?
You telling me that? Again, why hire him as a coach when you know he's your manager?
And I can't imagine that he would come here without knowing that he could be the manager.
And being in control, right?
Yes.
Why would he want to, if he's going to put in the time, why would he? Because here's the thing, is if Yadier Molina says something in the seventh inning, Yadier Molina says, we need to bring in Gallegos now to Ali Marmol. Is Ali Marmol going to say no?
So here's my thing. I think Yadi has or would have enough respect for Ali and understand the hierarchy of his position and his role. When you are an assistant coach, your job is to assist the head coach or the manager. It's not just to assist your players. It's to assist the head coach.
But he didn't do it as a player.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he were to come back, that would have to be him understanding that that's his role. If you come in, it would be the worst idea ever to bring Yadier Molina in and not have him know that he is not the manager. He would have to be understanding of that role, respectful of the position of what Ali Marmol is in that dugout and on that team. And if he's not willing to do that, then you're setting yourself up for a worse situation than you had in 2023.
Well, let me start with this. I would love for Yadier Molina to be in the Cardinal dugout. I never thought that he would do it because of the hours involved and the money involved. But if he would do it, that would be a great ad for the Cardinals. But it does go back to what we heard from A.J. Przinsky when we had him on in 2014. Yadi was in charge of the whole organization. But I also always remember what Hall of Famer Ted Simmons said. And he thought Yadi says he's a Hall of Famer. He said Yadier Molina could not only be your catcher, but he can be your hitting coach, your pitching coach, and your manager all in one. And essentially he was for a lot of those years. So if you can have him, how much better would he make Wilson Contreras on a regular basis?
He would.
And
how much better would he make those pitchers?
Yeah.
All of those things, if you have him in-house, it'd be great. Now, if he can use his time where he doesn't have to deal with the media, that'd be even better. If he can be spending his time working with players, making players better, making pitchers better, making the other coaches better, all the better, because he would waste a lot of time. It would be unfortunate if he didn't have time to spend with players because he was spending with the media. But I think there, like you say, CD, there has to be an understanding of who ultimately is in charge. And I know that Ali Marmol is strong, but I also know that I haven't seen anybody. I mean, when Yadier Molina would tell Tony La Russa what to do, Tony La Russa did it.
Exactly. That's
It's
the thing bringing him in.
But
Strength of personality.
There's a little difference from your player that's on the field telling you that in comparison to your assistant coach telling you that. It's coming from a different place. As a player, if one of my players says, "Hey, coach, we need to do this," I'm probably, I'm going to listen to it as opposed to a former player say, "Hey, do this now." No. It depends on what place it's coming from. And then as a manager or a head coach, it also depends on my level of security, understanding that, you know what, he's right in this situation. At the end of the day, my name goes on the wins and losses if I'm the manager. So I have to be comfortable with whatever decision is suggested to me. But I just feel like if Yadier Molina were to come back in that role, he is, in my opinion, would be respectful enough of the position of the manager to understand at the end of the day, his name goes on the wins and losses, not mine. So this is still his team.
Now, if you're Ollie, look at it from this perspective. You're the manager, and you have a crucial move to make in the 8th inning. Are you going to go with the numbers guys who had the 2 o'clock meeting, or are you going to go with Yadier Molina's eye test?
You're going with Yadier Molina. And that's why bringing Yadier Molina, I was talking about this yesterday, is a great decision because I think that it's signaling that the organization believes in the gut factor and the eye test. And I think that that's a great transition. That's something that we want to see moving forward. There is a place for numbers, of course, but also being able to filter that in of what is necessary and what is not is vitally important. And Yadi can do that. Yadi can do that for the organization. He can do that for the players. And that experience is something that is worth every single penny bringing him in.
Based on what you know, would you be surprised, Brooke, if Yadi would return to this organization?
No, and I talked about this yesterday. Polo Asensio, we have the Balk About It show, and I've asked him about that several times on the show, and you can go back and look. And he says Yadi wants to come back. He wants to be a manager. He sees himself as a manager of the organization, of the Cardinals. And he did think, well, this was a little while ago, though, he did think it wouldn't be this soon necessarily, but Yadi really wants to be a manager. I think that he thrives in that role, and having just witnessed the way that he worked with players and specifically the catchers, but the pitchers, seeing that firsthand over the years, just covering the Cardinals in the clubhouse and seeing them in action in spring training, Yadi had his hands on every single aspect of the Cardinals organization.
Yeah, no doubt. He could get bored in a hurry. If it's only a year, he's been away for a year, I can see how he could say, yeah, this is boring. I want to get back into it. That's Brooke. That's Carrie. I'm Randy. Coming up, our Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Gary, and if you are looking for a new deck, well, let me tell you about my friends at STL Design and Build. They are in the process of building my new deck, and each day when I come home, I get to see the progress that has been made. I went from having nothing outside of my kitchen to now having posts up, to having piers up, to having a deck that is flat. And now I'm just waiting on the rails and the steps to go up, and I will be completely done. They have done a fantastic job of the process. It has been amazing to see how hard they work, how well they work, and it's going to be a beautiful deck. My deck was terrible. I mean, it looked terrible. It was out of code. I didn't know any of this until the good folks at STL Design and Build came and told me what I needed to be done and how well it was going to look when it got done. They have been doing a great job. My project coordinator, Becky, keeps me involved, keeps me up to date with everything that goes on. The Builder Trend app is one app that allows me to approve or deny anything that takes place each and every day if need so. So check them out online today at STL Design and Build. They can help your deck be the best deck you can have. Check them out today, STLDesignandBuild.com.
Monday Night Football was not great. 2017 Cowboys over the L.A. Chargers.
Just there.
Yeah, just there. It really was. It wasn't.
There's a game on.
Yeah, Joe and Troy made it a little bit better than it really was. But I feel bad for. Justin Herbert needs to be in a better situation. And Kerry, you called Brandon Staley right off the bat. You're 100% right about him.
He's gonna let you down at some point.
Yep.
You just wait on it. You give it time.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming. You don't have to wait too long. It'll be there before you know it. The thing that I do like, I don't know if it was on last night because I didn't turn to it, but when they have terrible Monday night games, turn on the Manning cast.
Yeah, right.
Now, if you are bored to death with the football game, turn on the Manningcast because it is so informative. They teach you, for those that may not know the nuances, the intricate details of the game, you know, the small details that you can learn from two great quarterbacks, future Hall of Fame in one and current Hall of Famer in the other. Eli not in the Hall of Fame yet, you know.
No, but he will be.
He will be. So you can learn from those guys, and then they have funny guests that come on and, you know, make you laugh. So if you're bored with the game, here I am, reaching out to those that need to listen to the Manningcast. It is hilarious and informative all at the same time.
20-17 Cowboys.
That's true.
And they rebound. Yeah. Baseball yesterday, Rangers over the Astros 5-4, and in a stunning development, Bruce Bochy stuck with his starting pitcher when he loaded the bases with nobody out in the fifth inning. Bochy on the performance of Nathan Eovaldi.
I think you're talking about one of the elite pitchers in the game. They have that ability to turn up a notch when they have to, and we made an error, bases loaded, and it's about picking each other up, and he picked us up there and just made some great pitches. And that was the turning point in the game. Bases loaded, nobody out there in the fifth, and found a way to get through it, and terrific job by him. He had good stuff today, pitched very well. And does he sound more like Lou Brown than he ever has?
And that is a winning streak.
He does.
It has happened before.
That was just such a huge moment. You talked about Jordan Montgomery in that first game. He had his own moment in the fourth inning. And then for Evaldi to do that in the fifth, that was just a complete Houdini act. I don't know how he got out of that. I didn't have faith in it because I was like, well, I've seen so many different situations. I'm like, surely he's going to get pulled here. Wait, what is this? They're actually going to let him figure this out to get out of this jam with no outs? I was really surprised about that. I don't think many other managers in Major League Baseball would have had the stomach to do that, but Bruce Bochy, he looked comfortable. He didn't even look worried.
The Rangers have their own version of the Holy Trinity.
Oh.
Spores, Chapman, and Leclerc. They're going to trot those three guys. No, it's a little different, but it's theirs, right? We have ours. They have theirs.
Now hold on.
Tomato.
Leclerc set a MLB record being the first closer to ever close out the first 7 games of his team's postseason.
I didn't know you could pitch that many games.
Is consistency and availability useful for a playoff squad?
It's something.
Roles?
It's something.
Roles, maybe?
Defined roles,
okay.
definitely, in all facets of life are beneficial to all parties. I just, that's my opinion. But, yeah, they got some guys there.
Here's Evaldi getting out of that fifth inning, bases loaded, nobody out jam.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough right there in that situation. They pitch hit for Diaz. I know he's been aggressive, and I was able to make some good pitches, make him expand. And then, obviously Altuve's had a lot of success against me in the past. And I feel like our earlier at-bats today, I was missing effectively to where it kind of set up that moment. Once I got him ahead, when I was ahead 1-2 and I went with the high fastball and been able to follow it up with the splitter, it was, you're close, but you're not out of the woods yet because Bregman's equally as talented. And I was able to make a good pitch right there and get us out of that jam, and I feel like that was one of the turning points of the game.
That was the
What just happened at the end there? Did he go into space? Wait, he's an alien, isn't he?
He turned into a robot. You heard it.
Yep.
So wait, that's how he was able to get out, right?
Is there?
Now 7-3 in the postseason with a 2.87 earned run average, 62 2/3 innings in 9 starts. So he has been pretty good. And then last night, the Phillies hit a bunch of home runs early, 3 home runs in the first 2 innings, and they were able to stave off the Diamondbacks 5-3 and take a 1-0 lead in that series. Game 2 of that series is tonight, 6:30 pregame here on 101 ESPN.
I wanted to ask you before you went to the Phillies game. Do you think the Astros are cooked? You think you think they have a chance to get back into this series and potentially still win?
Starting pitching.
Yeah.
And we just don't know about Max Scherzer tomorrow night either.
That's the big thing. It's going to be his first time pitching since September 12th. I did think it was really impressive how the Rangers were, really bent in that game, but they didn't break. I was saying this during one of the breaks. I kind of want the Rangers, though, to lose at least one game so that you can really gauge their response, because I think that's when you really see things. I think about that whole, NLDS between the Braves and Phillies. With the Phillies, the way that they were able to come back and respond, and now they just feel unstoppable. I want to see how the Rangers respond after a loss.
Yeah, and they can pitch. They have a huge advantage now, and the luxury of being able to pitch Max Scherzer in a game 3 is huge, because if he's anything like he usually is, then they're up 3-0 and they're playing with house money the rest of the way.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That'd be interesting. There is your Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN. Coming up, does Mizzou have a chance in Athens next month because of the loss of the best player in the country by the Bulldogs? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Bernie Federico here. I'm lucky to be on the best team in town season after season. A team with players you can trust, a team with veterans who've been there before, skilled players on top of their game, and committed to get the job done right. That's why my team is Bellowman, for league-leading heating and cooling service and new installation options that are good for the environment and save you money. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Bellowman at 618-BELLOWMAN or bellowman.com.
For a limited time, First Community is offering a rate of 5% annual percentage yield on a 12-month or an 18-month certificate of deposit. Take your pick. You can open a CD with as little as $500, and there's no limit. Unlike some high-risk investments, CDs are fully insured to keep your savings safe, and the return on your investment is guaranteed. Please visit firstcommunity.com to learn.
Hey, the construction at Rudder Road is completed, and Fenton Bar & Grill is really easy to get to again. What a perfect day to be out on the patio at the Fenton Bar & Grill. Take advantage of their daily lunch specials. They're fantastic. Also for Mizzou games, it's the Cody Schrader Fan Club home. And if you have a large group, call Big Boss Man Chuck for reservations at 636-305-7041. 636-305-7041. Ask for Chuck, and he will set you up, and he'll make sure that you're taken care of when you go to the Fenton Bar & Grill. He's got a great staff there with Alicia and Colleen and Ashley and Megan and Kelly. Kelly is the feisty redhead. Just ask for the feisty redhead, and they'll let you speak to Kelly, and you'll have a wonderful time talking sports and enjoying the great food and drink. Don't forget to try the best trash swings in St. Louis at the Fenton Bar & Grill. Combine it with their signature golden sauce, and you will absolutely love those wings that you have at the Fenton Bar & Grill. Stop by today for a business lunch, maybe just to get together with the fellas, or any Blues game. Beer specials every Blues game as well at the Fenton Bar & Grill. When you stop by, tell them Randy sent you.
Sumner 1.
There are those that believe that the Georgia tight end Brock Bowers, the 6'4", 240-pounder, is the best player in the country. I think it was Desmond Howard before the season that determined that Bowers was going to be his Heisman Trophy favorite. Bowers with 41 catches for 567 yards and 4 scores. He's out with an ankle injury and will be out when Mizzou faces Georgia in a couple of weeks down in Athens. Does this give Missouri a little bit more chance against Georgia? Yes, I don't think Missouri will be favored. In fact, I would think that Georgia will probably be favored by 2 touchdowns. But when the other team's best weapon is not available to them, then you have a little bit more opportunity to slow them down. And one thing about Georgia this year, they're great. They haven't lost. They haven't lost in a couple of years, right? They're the 2-time defending national champs. But they haven't been as electrifying as they had been the last couple of years.
No, I think that there is definitely some holes there, but they're still the best team in the country right now, rankings-wise. And talent-wise, I think losing Bowers is huge for this team. I think 3 to 6 weeks is what they're saying for what his recovery is going to be like from ankle surgery. At least Vanderbilt's good for something, guys. And Mizzou fans can thank Vandy for that, right?
Yeah, and Vandy put up 20 on him. So
scored first.
Yeah.
There you go. The Commodore is actually doing something there. But
what was your line? Give us the line again.
What?
This is why you keep
Vandy around in the SEC. See?
Yeah,
Well, also,
it works out for Mizzou.
Vandy's a great game if you're trying to get a coach fired.
That's happened, right? I don't know. I think the thing is that it's a benefit, but it's still Georgia football. I don't know if you can completely say this is winnable for Mizzou.
So are we? Not we. Are Mizzou fans just looking past the South Carolina game? It's going to be a win.
Yeah, South Carolina's not good.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Well, you got
I just
Florida,
like to know.
right?
I don't think the team's going to be looking
No, they play
past
South Carolina next.
Oh, this week, yes.
Yeah, they play South Carolina
fans
this
can
week.
do that. I don't care if fans look past teams. I care if teams
just
do.
wondering.
Yeah, you're not going to look past South Carolina. It's a home game. It's homecoming against arguably maybe the worst team in the SEC other than Vandy. Then yeah, you're chalking it up.
Good. Right.
No, that's always a swing game for the Tigers. You never know. You can't look past that game.
I wouldn't, but you know,
when has a home game against South Carolina ever hurt them?
I would. I don't know that Mizzou can beat Georgia. I don't know that anybody can beat Georgia, despite Bowers being out for an extended period of time. They are loaded throughout every part of their roster. They lose guys to the NFL draft, and they just bring more and more guys in. So I don't know that anybody is going to be able to beat them until maybe like the SEC championship game or the college football playoffs. That may be an opportunity, but Georgia's a really good football team, despite this injury.
Yeah, they are. And
they haven't even played great in terms of how they played over the last couple of years being a championship team.
Right. No, all you can count on, if you're Mizzou, is any given Saturday. And Georgia is, by the way, on a collision course with Alabama again for the SEC championship game. And for a down year, Alabama is undefeated in the conference. They're in first place in the SEC West. And wouldn't it be just like Nick Saban to have his team ready for an SEC championship game?
Oh, yeah. Alabama, this is probably one of the, I guess would say one of the better years for Mizzou to have an up year, because you're having somewhat down years from Alabama and from Georgia with their quarterbacks trying to figure out their quarterback situation. You know, with Georgia bringing in a new quarterback, Alabama got a new guy. So they're trying to figure out their situation, not hitting on all cylinders offensively, defensively, still playing well. Mizzou has played extremely well this year. Now, do you have any concern with them being down 14-0 on the road at Kentucky last week?
Yeah, I was concerned.
I think that would be a little bit of a concern, but, you know, they are playing extremely well this year, this moment.
I think all of their remaining games, and we said this after the Vanderbilt win, all of their remaining games are still losable games. That being said, with the concept of any given Saturday, it's any given Sunday in the NFL, I do think that they're capable of winning all those games. Would everything have to go right? Would Luther Burden have to have an otherworldly day against Georgia? Yes. Tennessee is not what they were last year when Hendon Hooker was their quarterback. Florida can't play defense for some reason. I don't know why. But Florida is a team that is eminently beatable, but you could lose to them. Florida, they lost to South Carolina 41-39 last weekend. So those two are pretty even. I really do believe that Mizzou, and it'll say a lot for Eli and his staff, if they can make this a 9-win season.
That would say a lot, because I think that even coming in the season, and I'll own up to it, I had some doubts on what the progression would look like. You bring in Kirby Moore, what will that look like? Bring in a new offensive coordinator, how will that mesh with Eli Drinkwitz? And would you be able to see Brady Cook kind of really take off as the Tigers' starting quarterback? I felt like there was a lot of questions going in. So a lot of these games early on that I felt were kind of 50-50-ish, they've been able to win. Mm-hmm. And I think it was really encouraging with Kentucky. One, you were able to beat them in Lexington for the first time since 2013, but the manner in which you did it, they won in a way that I don't think I've seen with Eli Drinkwitz during his era. The way that they were able to really come up with something new and different and find a way to bring back momentum and really spark this team.
Huge.
That was
the fake punt?
huge. Yes, the fake punt to the touchdown, and that was also DeSmet's Luke Bauer that was a part of that. Mm-hmm. I think that was really telling to me of the progression and growth that you've seen with Eli Drinkwitz. And with Brady Cook, he has really silenced a lot of doubters this season. You've seen the progression with Luther Burden. You've seen also Marquise Speedy Johnson, his progression as another great receiver for Mizzou. They keep answering all of these questions, and I think everything you've seen so far is great for the Tigers. And I think that what they were able to do too defensively, limiting Ray Davis, which was a huge question mark going into that Kentucky game, I think is telling. I think that this will be a good game against Georgia, but you do have to get past South Carolina first.
So let's just look at from a 5,000-foot view. Let's look at the rest of the season. 6-1, starting with you, Matthew. South Carolina
win.
That's 7-1. Brooke? South Carolina and Mizzou this weekend.
Oh, win for Mizzou.
For Mizzou.
I'm not doubting in that.
Win.
7-1. Then you go to Georgia.
Loss.
Let's be reasonable.
It's close, but it's close, but it's a loss.
Okay, 7-2.
Is it close?
It was close last year. Mizzou's a better team. Georgia's not as good.
I still think it's going to be close, but a loss.
Okay.
7-2. Okay, Tennessee at home.
Ooh, at home.
Every
is the
game
big
sold
thing.
out for the rest of the season.
I'll give. I will say win.
I think Mizzou
I'll
wins
say
that
win.
too.
W.
Yeah.
So 8-2. Florida at home.
I just catch my bet.
Florida coming in from the warm weather to Mizzou on November 18th.
W. Florida games are always close. In fact, I think Mizzou
Let's
actually
just say
statistically
W.
plays better
Yeah,
in
let's
the
just go
swamp.
W
Let's say
from here
W.
on out.
9-2.
Okay, and then the game at Arkansas might be
That one's always interesting.
might be the Sam Pittman farewell tour, though.
10-2.
Another one.
There you go,
10-2 Mizzou.
How about that?
There you go.
A new expectation, a new bar.
CD, how strong is your belief in that record?
I'm good with it.
Did you hear the clapping? It sounded sincere.
Are they going to win the SEC championship?
Probably not.
Okay.
Georgia will play in the SEC
But
championship.
here's the thing about this game.
New
against
Year's Six
Georgia.
bowl game, though.
Yeah, probably.
That's now we're talking.
Right now, I think they're still projected to get like the Independence Bowl.
Not if they're 10-2.
But then they won't.
If they're an SEC, a 10-2 SEC team,
Very well.
It may be
nice.
It is a week. It is maybe the weakest year for the conference in the last like 10.
LSU, Alabama, Georgia, all with as good a record or better.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's 3 teams that'll be in. One of them will be in the championship game. So then 2 of them will be in the.
Okay,
New
if
Year's
they
Day,
beat
New Year's
Georgia, then that would just be.
Yeah,
don't even
dare to dream.
Then they can play in the SEC
But again,
championship game.
Carey,
And get smoked by Alabama.
it was a close game last year.
And they'll be the SEC East champions. Go Tigers!
CD's space. So, yeah, everybody needs to get on YouTube and
SEC champs.
see this.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. SEC East champs. I love it.
I would,
Oh my
you know
God.
What? If
Gotta love that
done beating that
SEC
strawman,
East, baby.
If Missouri,
Listen, I honestly thought, this is the God's honest truth, the way that Mizzou fans talk about winning the SEC East, I honestly thought they won the SEC championship.
well, see, that's because they're looking at it from a rational standpoint because they aren't going to win the SEC championship.
Well, then say that they won. They didn't win the SEC. That's like, what did Cincinnati do when the Cincinnati Football Club, soccer club? What?
Oh, Nashville.
No. Cincinnati, Nashville as well.
Oh, yeah.
But Cincinnati,
the Supporter Shield's the one that matters.
It's all that matters. We
After
won.
they won it.
Oh, that, yeah.
We won. It's
Yeah.
over. Don't worry about anything else. Don't play the game after that. You didn't win the championship game. Honestly, when people talk about that Mizzou team, was it 2013, 2014?
Yeah, both years.
I honestly thought that they won the SEC championship. How they speak about it, they won the SEC East. Go Tigers!
Yeah. Pretty much every team in sports, though. Pretty much every team in sports is going to put up a banner for winning a division. I guess the Steelers don't.
No,
but
we don't.
The Cardinals.
I will tell you. I will tell you this. So it was intriguing because at Hazel Central we have a long history of winning conferences and districts, and so we played a team that won the conference, and they had T-shirts and banners and all this. I'm like, what the hell is that? We won the conference like 3 or 4 times. I ain't never got a T-shirt for that. We don't care. You play to win championships, and again, I just thought that 2013 and 14 they were. But SEC champions.
Here's the thing.
You have to.
Yeah, the thing is, you play to win. But if you've played for 120 years and you've never won a championship,
then you celebrate whatever victory you get.
Exactly.
I get it.
There you go.
The conversation is around the sport is only 8 or 9 teams are ever going to win a championship. So stop trying to think you're ever going to be one of those teams. When that's the discussion, the fact that you've entered the conversation before does matter.
Hey, all I want to say is you guys can't make fun of Nashville anymore with all the banners that they raise, okay? If we're going to raise the banners, I'm just going to say, you can't make fun of Nashville anymore.
Western Conference runners up, it's great.
You can't have both, okay?
It's wonderful. We got 2 comments on the YouTube chat that I got to read. Andy says, don't you wink at me, CD. I'm trying to focus at my work here. Also, Forrest Time says, CD is cracking me up. Thank God we have YouTube to see his face.
Exactly. You have to go and see us on the Air Alliance Team studio cams.
Oh, man.
Beautiful picture to see.
They really are.
Wonderful.
Just go to the YouTube and fill that baby out. Coming up, can the Blues survive offensively without Buch and with a struggling power play? It's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I've loved exploring my new home, and thanks to the Metro, it's so much easier to do. I've lived in other cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to a lot of congested traffic and made it harder to get to events like concerts and games, but that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone. It's hockey season now, so you can take it right over to Enterprise Center. You can go to Busch Stadium, City Park, and more without the hassle of parking or waiting in traffic or trying to get an Uber. You know how tough that is, especially if there's a game going on. Metro Transit just gets you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try yet, it's something that I can promise you other places wish they had available. There's many benefits even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses to come here and creates a significant amount of jobs in the region. And of course, it helps many people get to their job. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, Monday Night Football, the Cowboys over the Chargers, 20-17. Also, both the LCSs were in action. Rangers over the Astros, 5-4 in Game 2. They now lead that series 2-0. And the NLCS got underway late last night. It was the Diamondbacks facing off against the Phillies. Phillies come away with that win, 5-3, and they'll have Game 2 tonight here on 101 ESPN. First pitch is 7:07, but pregame starts right here at 6:30. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Well, it'd be a lot of speed, I'll tell you that, because aside from Jordan Cairo, Brooke, Vrana might be the fastest player on the team. That certainly would be an option. I think the one argument to be made for Saad, if they're going to put him there again, like they did the other night, is that he's a better two-way player than Jacob Vrana. So, we'll see. But obviously, that would be enticing to have Robert Thomas, who's an elite passer, to play with two, blazing skaters like Vrana and Jordan Cairo.
That's John Kelly earlier today here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN with the absence of Pavel Buchnevich, at least for a couple of weeks. How intriguing would it be to put Jacob Vrana?
Jacob. Yes, it is Jacob, according to him.
According to him, Jacob Vrana on that line with Thomas and Cairo. It would provide a tremendous amount of speed. However, somebody is going to have to become more defensively conscious than they are at the moment. I don't see those guys playing the quintessential 200-foot game that we talk about, and Brandon Saad does play that.
It'd be a little bit of an issue on one end.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be fun. If you can get some shots on goal and get some opportunities, those guys will be flying. It's interesting to see what they decide to do with Pavel Buchnevich being out for a little bit because, again, the power play has struggled. Getting guys in the offensive zone and getting shots on net is going to be crucial and critical to win some games. Jordan Binnington is playing outstanding. So let's get him some goals to support his play on the defensive end and get him some wins in regulation as opposed to overtime.
I want Vrana to be up there because of what JK was saying is the speed. And then what does it feel like we've been missing in these first two games, guys? Speed and scoring. So does that not help with that situation? You have Robert Thomas there as your center in the way that
teams.
Oh yeah. No. Hey, but if they're quick enough, and it's a small sample size, but with Jordan Cairo, I think that you have seen him grow a little bit more as a two-way player. I think that there's already been some moments, especially in this last game I saw, where it was things that I didn't think that Jordan Cairo would typically do, where he's getting a little bit more involved on that side of things. And I think that maybe he's learning that if he gets involved in that way, is a little bit more of a two-way player, it doesn't mean that he has to sacrifice what he's doing offensively.
And you don't have the coach yelling at you.
That's something that's very important.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
It's interesting because during the offseason, whenever I would run into somebody from the Blues and say, what about Cairo? Because he's obviously a focal point. Inevitably, I was don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. And they had confidence. And I wish Blues fans, here's the thing, guys become whipping boys, and Jordan Cairo is a really, really, really good player. Scored 37 goals last year. He's going to be a 40-goal guy. There's no reason to be upset with him during player introductions before the season even starts.
Yeah.
He's one of your best guys. Ask yourself this, are you a better team with or without Jordan Cairo on your team?
You're better with him.
You're better with him.
Yes.
Right.
You don't find those guys.
And that was the thing that we were talking about earlier about the difference between where the Blues are at and why they kind of predicted or kind of were conservative with their determination that they'll maybe finish third, which I think would be fantastic. The Dallas Stars and the Avalanche have that core that's already established. You are currently growing that core right now with Robert Thomas, Pavel Buchnevich, and, well, we know that Buchnevich is injured, but he'll hopefully return here soon in 1-2 weeks. It won't be something that lingers on the rest of the season. But then also with Jordan Cairo, it's going to take a little bit for this core to develop. And I think that that's the biggest thing. I think that Jordan Kyrou will continue to make strides this season. And if he grows and develops more as a two-way player, that's a win in my book.
What do y'all think is missing on the power play other than just shooting the puck? What is causing them to be out of sorts right
David
now?
Perron. No. Oops. No. Whoopsies. No, that's it.
I think there's a couple of things. I think number one, shooting the puck is at the core, right? You've only got 2 shots on goal in
That's
2 games
kinda ridiculous,
on the
too.
power play. But you also, once you get people to fire the puck from the point, get somebody to stand in front of the goalie or to stand at least between the goalie and the shooter so that you have so that you take his eyes away, take the goalie's eyes away. And that's power play 101, isn't it? Is take advantage of the man advantage by using a guy to block out the goalie's ability to see, and then shoot the puck. And just
That's kind of important to scoring goals,
right.
Randy.
I think sometimes, and Chief has talked about this, I think sometimes they have a tendency to get too cute. And,
He did say that, yeah.
Yeah, so don't be cute. Just play a game where don't be cute. Just fire the puck at the net and see what happens.
Yeah, it's just the power play is not meshing right now. And that's the thing that I think you can point to is the biggest concern, because when Curb said it yesterday where it looks the same as last season, that is not a great thing, because your special teams, when the Blues have been successful, special teams is a big part of that. And the penalty kill has been great. It's just the power play, it still just feels like it's out of whack, especially with their breakouts and their neutral zone regroups. But then once they get set up in the offensive zone, there's just not much happening there. I think that that's where maybe he's kind of talking about things just getting too cute. And that's what has led to 0 goals.
And it's so early. There's 7 teams without a power play goal.
Yes.
There's 6 or 7 teams that haven't allowed a power play goal. It's way too early to make a judgment about what the power play and penalty kill are or are not going to be. It's fun for us to react right away, but I think we have to get to 10 games before we can really make a judgment about what the power play or penalty kill
You
is.
get to 10 games and don't score a goal. That's trouble.
that would be a problem.
If you get to 5 games and only have 5 or 6 shots.
But you know what? We could come in here on Thursday morning and they could have a 75% power play, and we know that's not real either.
That is the case. True. Yeah.
So,
that's very true.
So that's what we have to look at. Hey, we've got John Party tickets. Everybody loves a party, right?
Yeah.
Party on.
Yeah. So we've got a pair of tickets to give away. And we're going to play the fun grab bag game. It's a grab bag giveaway coming up with Rocc and Roll here on 101 ESPN. Hey, let's talk about selling a home. And remember, when selecting your agent, the agent must have experience, a proven track record, and guarantees. And you know who checks all of those boxes? Well, Gloria Liu does. She's the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and she knows that as a home seller, you need assurance. That's why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed-to-upon price and time frame, or she'll buy it. Gloria has been successfully selling homes in our area for more than 20 years, and she can do the same for you. That's because she has solutions for every type of home seller. Gloria can take care of you if you're a seller who wants a fast sale with no hassles. She's got a 24-hour cash offer solution that's a great option to consider. No showings, no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer bid from Gloria's database of buyers and what she calls her cash offer bid box. If you're thinking about selling your home, or if you're going to sell your home, get in touch with Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
I want to rock. And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
All right, we've got a ticket giveaway. It's John Party. And if you want to go see John Party, you have an opportunity to win tickets right now from 101 ESPN. Matthew is here, and we've got a game to play.
Give me something good this time. This nonsense you gave me yesterday.
This is redemption for CD. This is redemption.
Movies about baseball.
Yes.
Oh,
that's a good one. I like that.
That's a good one.
This is one of the ones where I have a bunch written down, but then I have like a bunch of I have like an ellipses at the end because there are just so many things you could possibly name here. So
many good
the
ones.
question, the category is movies about baseball. How many can Kerry Davis name in 30 seconds? We're going to need your guesses right here. Whoever is going to be closest to the pin on the guesses that Kerry Davis has will be walking away with John Party tickets for this weekend.
And by the way, John Party will also bring along special guests Midland and Ella Langley Saturday night, October 21st at Chaffetz. Tickets on sale now. And, of course, you can find details at 101ESPN.com. But we're going to have your chance to win free tickets to see John Party in this very segment.
Now, Kerry, you tanked yesterday's on purpose to send a message, I think.
I wouldn't say it on purpose.
Okay, for sure. We'll lie. How do you feel about today's?
I feel a little bit better.
Okay.
All right.
We're getting a much wider delta yesterday. The delta was between 0 and 7 yesterday. We're getting a much wider delta here, Kerry. So I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock. Movies about baseball. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
I'm going to say you get 11.
Oh, that's a lot.
Go.
Sandlot, Angels in the Outfield, The Rookie, Major League 1, 2, and 3. Fever Pitch. What else am I missing? Oh, give me something. Come on, CD. Come on, CD. Come on. The Tom Selleck movie when he had the mustache in Japan. What is the name of that damn movie, man? Oh, come on. Oh, gosh. This is bad. What am I at? 6? 7? Yeah. What am I missing? Give me something.
Bad.
Bull Durham.
Bull Durham. There you go. Bull Durham.
And there is the.
What's the Tom Selleck movie where he was in the major leagues?
Best description.
Sorry, I think every Tom Selleck movie is the one with the mustache.
Sure, of course. I did this too, so you knew I knew.
So, Mr. 3000.
Mr. 3000. I couldn't think of that. That was a good one.
Did you say
Bang the drum
Moneyball?
slowly.
I didn't say Moneyball.
I was surprised. I was surprised you didn't say Moneyball.
A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own.
You said Sandlot,
Bad News
right?
Bears.
I said Sandlot.
Okay,
Bad News
okay.
Bears. Yeah. Well, somebody tell me the name of the damn Thomas
For love
Selleck
of the
movie.
game.
Did you say The Rookie?
I said The Rookie.
You said The Rookie. That was
Field
one
of
you got there.
Dreams.
Field of Dreams is another one.
Oh,
Yeah, so Kerry got 8. So actually, how about this? The very first guess we actually got this morning, right out of the gate, was 8. So the 636 hit it right on the number. We're going to get their name name, get their information, see if they're a winner. Because, Carrie, you got 8 baseball movies. Good job in 30 seconds.
Great.
You ripped off 7 in the first 8 seconds. And then it took
Major
you a
League
minute.
1, 2, 3 is pretty.
That was my favorite part. Major League 1, 2, 3. I shouldn't. You know what? I shouldn't have doubted him. This is the man that when I gave him the Yankees question, he simply just started listing years at the rapid pace, which is exactly what I thought. So,
Mr. Baseball.
Mr. Baseball. That's the Tom.
I just like how you
movie.
said the mustache, and it's like I think that's a part of him almost. I think he was born with that mustache.
Yes, you are correct. The one with the mustache is in fact the Tom Selleck movie.
Any movies.
I wanted to touch on something else because Randy mentioned that flag football is going to be at the Los Angeles Olympics coming up in 2028. That's not the only sport they're adding. Baseball and softball will be there. Cricket will be there. And in another kind of shoehorn a good sport in there where Americans and Canadians can beat the crap out of the rest of the world, lacrosse has also been added to the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, which made me kind of dive into, as I move over to my other page, which made me dive into a couple other additions that have been made to certain Olympics. Did you guys know that they have added the sport of breaking to the 2024 Olympics in Paris?
What is breaking?
Dance?
It is breakdancing, Carrie. That is the
say breaking.
Because that is the colloquial.
You call it, but I hear people say break dance. That's just break it. Do you go out there and break?
That's the term. That's the term it's used in the competitive fashion.
Yeah.
It is referred to as just breaking.
Can we have a crumping competition? Bring that back because kids these days don't remember that.
So France is adding breakdancing. So I want to ask you guys, if you guys had personal control over an Olympic game, it can be a summer or a winter, what sport are you adding?
I'm adding football. Regular football.
Not flag football?
Real
Carrie, that's going to be mean to the rest of the world, though.
As if flag football is not.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, at least, give me regular football. Guys hitting people.
I'm trying to think if there's something.
How about that?
For me, you know what it is for me, Randy?
What?
We get the Ryder Cup, but that's just America against Europe. I think if golf was an Olympic event, team golf is an Olympic event where we could that way. I mean, the haymaking teams from the Asian tour would be absolutely fascinating to watch play the American team or the English team or the Scottish team. I would love if golf was an Olympic event.
You know what we need now, in this day and age, in our world? Pickleball.
Yes.
Ooh, that is a good one.
We're like 4 Olympics away from that happening.
Yeah. Somebody said they took baseball out, but baseball's coming back too,
It's back
right?
for 28, right?
Yeah, that's what I
And
thought.
softball.
Because somebody was worried about breaking taking over for baseball.
No,
but
that's just,
don't worry, that's not the case.
For the French in Paris. They also added karate, which I thought was a weird move for the French. Just adding anything with fighting just seems like a bad move.
Oh, yeah. Check out, yeah.
Oui.
I can't make a joke about the French? Jesus, you guys are...
What else?
Low-hanging fruit.
American football is the logical
American
one.
football. American. Or send a real basketball team to the Olympics.
Oh!
By the way, Randy, you weren't here for yesterday's Grab Bag giveaway, but Carrie, but the topic that I pulled out that I accused Carrie of tanking on purpose was he pulled out the 2023 United States men's national team FIBA roster. So the World Cup roster that Carrie was dogging on this entire summer as not being the dream team. He named one of the 13 NBA players.
Jalen Brunson?
That's one.
Jaren Jackson Jr.?
That's two. You're going to smoke, Carrie. This is great.
No, I don't think so. We didn't have Bam. We didn't have a big man.
That's two. Ask me how many I got, Randy.
How many did you get?
One.
Okay.
You smoked me. You doubled my output. Good job. The hell, nobody knows who the hell is on that team, man. Anthony Edwards. That's what I said.
So disrespectful.
And then I said the Josh guy, he wouldn't give me Josh.
I wouldn't give you Josh.
Josh Hart. I didn't know his last name. He didn't even start for the Knicks. He's like the sixth man. Who the hell knows his name? No disrespect to Josh Hart.
I knew this 2 months ago, too. I was actually paying attention to it 2 months ago, but not anymore.
Carrie, somewhere in here, I'm pretty sure at some point, somewhere in here is going to be one you really like, because there's one that's in here that says the Dream Team.
Oh, yeah. Sign me up. I can name all those guys.
In 30 seconds?
Yeah, and I guarantee you Brooke's going to pull that one out of the hat tomorrow morning.
The Redeem Team would be better. Put the Redeem Team in there, too.
Oh, I'll put the Redeem Team on there. That's a good one. Let me write that down.
Yeah, because the Dream Team's too easy.
Dream Team's too easy?
Yeah, it is.
Don't say that, Randy. Need easy.
Well, so you've got Robinson and Ewing, right?
Stockton, Malone, Jordan, Pippen, Clyde, Barkley,
Bird.
Leitner, Bird, Magic. Where am I at?
That's 10.
Who am I missing? Chris Mullins.
Yeah, that's the one that always gets me.
Chris Mullin. I said Leitner.
We got another big man.
You said David Robinson?
Yeah, I'm talking about a power forward. Who
Patrick
backed up
Ewing,
Barkley?
Shaq. Not Shaq.
Oh, Malone. Did you get Stockton and
I
Malone?
said Stockton Malone.
Okay.
Did you say you get all the Bulls?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scotty
Pippen and Jordan.
Michael, yeah.
Leitner, Robinson, Ewing, Bird, Pippen, Jordan, Drexler, Malone, Stockton, Mullen, Barkley, Johnson. I think we might have missed Drexler off the top.
No, we got him.
Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I said all of them.
We got them all.
I said all of them.
I must have missed one because I only counted 11. But yeah, those are the 12. So maybe I'll just throw that one out of the hat.
Easy peasy.
Okay.
Great job today by our producer, audio engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, wasn't this fun?
This was. I also was researching here things that they should add. Dodgeball, I think, is a good Olympic sport to add. Beer pong was somebody texted that in. I like that. I think we would be very dominant in beer pong
think so.
and dodgeball. And I think there was one more. UFC fighting.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
I think if you're going to add breaking in, then you can make room for these.
Rachel's really not happy about that news.
Breaking.
How about that?
Brooke does not like dancers.
I do.
CD.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, thanks to you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Tuesday, St. Louis.
That's right.
Hey, it's Carrie here from my friends at Window Nation. Fall is the best time of the year. There's so much to love about fall, especially the return of Window Nation's best offer of the year. Get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. Plus, put no money down, make no payments, and pay no interest for 2 full years. If your windows are old or if they're hard to open or close, drafty or leaky, it's time to call Window Nation. Take care of it now before the cold weather arrives. Just call 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com. Window Nation will measure your windows up to 3 times to ensure they properly fit. There are comprehensive lifetime warranties on the entire window, including the glass. The average installer has over 16 years of experience with 20,000 windows installed. They are one of the top window companies in the country with a 96% satisfaction rate. And you need to see them today. New windows can save you up to 30% on your energy bill, so call them today at 866-90-NATION or go online at windownation.com and tell them Carrie sent you.